All right, welcome to the all new and improved Save Jackson podcast. We are live here in the Save Jackson, not in Jackson, Insurrection World Headquarters.
Oh, God.
Let me get my background going here. I've had all day to do this, and I've been kind of dragging my feet a little bit. We've got Josh Gilmer here with me.
How are you?
How's it going, brother?
Going good.
Josh, we met at a buddy of ours shop the other night, detailing cars and cooking out and hanging out. And I was like, dude, you would make a very interesting individual to have on the Save Jackson podcast or the Clay Edwards show or whatever people want to call this.
Yeah.
And here we are, a week later. I got new equipment in, so at the time it worked out perfect. And like I said, we just kind of make the name of this. The name changes as I go here. So, all right, here we go. Owner of the pet shop in Fondren.
Mm-hmm.
You're also a licensed barber, correct?
Correct.
How are your headphones? Can you hear good?
Yeah.
Too loud or anything?
No.
All right. That's the only thing I don't like about this program is it's live without a net.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to test everything.
Yeah.
For the most part till you hit the live button.
It's all right. It's nice.
Cool. Well, look, man, we appreciate everybody joining in. Because we are doing it like this, I can only put one name on the screen, and it's mine. But I hope everybody's having a great Sunday. There's no Mississippi State baseball today, so you have no excuse not to be watching this. Hell State is going to play in the finals of the College World Series. So for the second time in the last 5 or 6 years, Mississippi State's playing for a national championship. Will we win? Yet to be seen. Playing Vandy and Vandy, they don't play by the same rules, unfortunately, being a private school and all that. They can give away scholarships and everything they want where State can't. But, hey, you know what? If an SEC team wins, they win. So,
Exactly. I think if you're just good, you're good.
yeah, I think so, too. I really do. And State seems to be – I hate to be that guy, a team of destiny.
Yes.
But if you look at the way they've come back and won some games.
I was just say it don't matter until it boils down to the pressure.
Yep. All right. So everything seems to sound good on the sound. We're just kind of ramping up here, give everybody time to get in the room. Again, we got some new equipment. We're kind of playing around with it. So y'all bear with me some. We'll get all this worked out. One of the things I read about this is it actually sounds way better coming through than what we so much hear in these. I went and bought these cheap headphones today at Walmart.
That's all right.
And so, all right, look, Josh.
Yes.
You're a very interesting dude, man. We had a great conversation the other night, and I was like, if we can be half that interesting, we'll have a great one of the best podcasts I've ever done. And same goes for me. I gotta pull myself out of this sinus infection and kind of make it happen. And how did you? So you grew up in a veterinarian home, and your dad was a veteran.
No, my dad was a veteran.
Yes.
I worked with some veterinarians. Dr.
Gotcha.
Troy Major was next door. The animal health products is where I worked on the retail side.
Yeah.
And then the veterinary office, animal medical center was adjacent.
And that's on the hill in South Jackson, right?
Mm-hmm. On the
Still
hill in
there.
South Jackson, still there, still going. We've seen several businesses. It was back when the slide was there.
Yeah.
So it's
you can still see parts of the slide kind of coming up from under the ground.
Yeah, you can. I think people grew up with some scars from it.
I know I did.
Yes.
It was not friendly.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
So I grew up in South Jackson in the late 70s. I was born in 77.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up over there, and that place didn't close down too terribly long after I was old enough to do it. It had to be early to mid 80s at the latest.
Yeah, I was so young because I was born in 80, but my sister was older, so I kind of got to enjoy what she was doing with that. So that's how I even ended up there with my mom. And then my parents divorced when I was young, so it was just me and my mom and my sister that went.
So you had the pet shop now.
Mm-hmm.
And got it right that time. Shop, not store.
Pint shop. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I like it, man. That's a killer logo. It's got that old school. I mean, I know you're a barber too, but it's got that old school barbershop kind of vibe to it.
So that's kind of the aesthetic. When we came up with it, I have a friend that's in that business. That's from here or lives here. It's not from here. His name is V, and he does a pretty good bit of stuff. So we sat down and it's like, look, man, I got ideas, but I can't put them on paper in the way you can.
Yeah.
So he kind of just worked together, and that's what we came up with.
What's his name?
His name is, we call him V. He goes by V like the letter, but I think it's Virgilio maybe.
White guy or black guy?
Well, he's
not relevant Spanish. To it, but well, I asked because one of my absolute best friends on this planet is a guy named V that does this very same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way that we both know the same V. So that's why I had it's a black dude and grew up with him and stuff, and just a very unique character. Very artistic. Of course, most very artistic people are very unique characters.
Yes, and it's kind of all in the same realm of things. We all kind of think alike, and it's it's whatever you want to do. But I actually met V when I used to do CrossFit. I was at East Brandon CrossFit when they first opened, and he came in. Interesting guy. I never shy away from talking to somebody different or, meeting strangers. And so that's kind of how our friendship started off. And he was in that profession. That's what he was doing. And that's what he's doing now. So, yeah.
Yeah. I just had a guy redo I figure I'm never going to really settle on a logo for this Clay Edwards show thing. I just keep the more you can have, the better, like a good rock band, I was
to say, if you keep changing up, it's kind of like a style.
So this is the new one. My buddy Jordan Schatz just did this, and Jordan's a local musician who just absolutely kills it. And we've been working on this for a month, and I know it probably seems basic, but that's exactly what I wanted, was just something bold, clean. This tower says radio or oil. Either or I'm cool with.
I just go with less is more.
Yeah. What I was visioning was like, what if a former rock star started a talk show? How would it look? And that's kind of minus the rock star part, but very influenced by music and grew up a big hard rock fan. So that was kind of the vibe I was going for, man. He just nailed it. Because my old logo was the skull and the headphones and the microphones that every podcaster has.
Yeah.
Well, we can still use that, but let's get away from that. Something a little more original. But I dig your logo. So
thanks.
Something else you were telling me is, even this happened after you opened the barber shop. Opened the pet shop.
Yeah. You
decided to go to barber school.
I did. So
1,500 hours later, is that what it was?
1,500 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's let's just back up. When I was in high school and everything else, my mother was she was a beautician, cut hair, her whole life. So I knew about it and was in it. And 20 years ago, I wanted to be a barber, just never the right timing. Kind of was pressured to do this, get out, go to college, yada, yada, go to kind of the motions.
Yeah.
And so I put it on the back burner, but I've always wanted to do the barbering thing. So 2016, opened the business. Business is good. I opened that. That's what I know. That's what I've done on my whole life has been in retail and in small business retail at that. And so that was going. And 2019, things are going good. Business, we're kind of settling in. We're making our ruts. We're breezing on. And I brought up the barber thing, and my wife just said, "Well, you're not getting any younger. So if you want to do it, this is your opportunity. Why not? If you want something to happen, I think you got to do it. Jump off the cliff." That was the hardest part about starting a small business as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cause everybody's like, "Oh, you want to go out on your own." In private sector, you pay everything, insurance, retirement, it's all on you.
Yeah.
And so you're rolling the dice, you're taking a big risk, and you're sitting there looking at a lease and going, that's a lot of money over the period of time.
And good luck getting a loan.
Yeah. And I'm kicking for it. And so and that's a whole nother subject in itself as well. So even starting it, you try to get your funds together and starting a business, seeing how much it costs. Well, that went in, and I kind of got that going and looked at my budget and see what I could afford and see what I could do. A little bit of help, not a lot of help. And I started a business on a shoestring budget. Took a lot of grit, a lot of ups, a whole lot of downs, thinking it's like, man, I'm tired. I'm done. This is it. And saving. And that's kind of how the business started. So when we first opened, looking back at pictures, it's like, man, I should not have did it that way, because we didn't have anything as far as inventory.
Yeah.
And so walking into it now, it's like you can see the progress. You can see I've put money back into the business because, number one thing when you're a business owner, everybody gets paid but you. You're their last person. You got to pay everything and everything else. And then it's like, oh, I got a little bit. Maybe I got $1. Maybe I have $100. And
whatever it is.
Yeah. And then it's your choice to not get paid and reinvest that back into your business to help it grow. And so that was it.
Hey, real quick, Sarah Blevins asked, so the pet shop is a barber shop. She get little that's on me. That's on me, Sarah.
Yes.
I've got a terrible sinus infection, so my head's all over the place. Josh owns a pet shop in Fondren called the Pet Shop of Fondren.
Yes.
And where they sell pet supplies. Do y'all actually sell animals?
No. So didn't think that name through.
Yeah.
The pet shop actually came from a guy that was at the veterinary clinic my wife worked at. He used to always says, go to the pet shop next door. And so when I was coming up with the business, like, you know what? We're going to call this thing the pet shop. Yeah. Didn't think about having pets. Yeah. We've never had live animals. I get calls daily, which I'm not rude. Don't want to be rude. I'm sorry. We don't sell live animals. That's
no doubt
my fault for putting that out there.
Well, look, man. So Sarah, to finish that thought, he is also a barber, but that's over in Highland Village.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Highland Village.
If anybody wanted to get their wig split by you, where's that at?
You can come to Village Concepts, where you're located under Bravo's restaurant, and Beagle Bagel's right across the little underpass. We're under there. It's been there. It's an old little shop. It's been there forever. Great group of people.
That's cool. Like I said, I've seen you. Of course, I didn't grow up over on that side of town.
I didn't either.
So I didn't really know all the little cuts. I grew up getting my head shaved at Bobby's Cut Above on McDowell.
Yeah, I think everybody's been to Bobby's Cut.
The closest I've gotten to a Bobby's haircut is Jonathan Boone. Mm-hmm. It's my current.
Yeah.
My current cut.
He used to cut my hair when I was a kid.
Yeah. Boone is great people. I wish I had met him 10 years ago, but he's been cutting my hair for about the last 5 years. So to answer that question, Sarah, he has the pet shop, which sells pet supplies and whatnot.
Yes.
And then he has the barber. Well, he is a barber at a barber shop.
Yes.
So hopefully that clears that up there. I love the fact that you talked about the fear of starting something.
Yes.
And that's kind of one of the things I want to focus on with this, as this podcast itself evolves, is really focusing on local entrepreneurs and people who, whatever it may be, whether it's another guy with a podcast or a pet shop or a barber shop, whatever. I'm really, really drawn towards people that have that story of overcoming the fear of doing it. To just, for me, with this, it was just sitting down one day, turning the iPad around and hitting live.
Correct.
And I had the nightclubs for years and years. Part of that, but I was young and what's the saying? Just young and stupid. Mm-hmm. Wasn't aware of what I was doing, and had success. So I didn't even understand that there was failure was an option, and bankruptcy and living on my parents' couch till I was 40 would be the outcome if that didn't work.
Correct.
Then of course when that didn't work, that was the outcome. But it took 15 years.
Yeah, and my dad's had small business. He's did everything from the military to work. And then, so my attitude towards it was invest in yourself. So we have people that do retirements, and you're working for somebody and you're giving somebody your 401k and you're saying, here's some money, roll the dice, gamble it. Hopefully we'll make it out, which that's their job. And that's good. And a lot of people does it, and it's good. But I had the thought of, I'm going to roll the dice on myself. So it takes the blame off of everybody else. If it fails, it's me. Mm-hmm. And it kind of puts me in the hot seat for it. But, my dad always told me, he's like, if you work for yourself, you're going to make the most. You're never going to get fired. And all the success is yours to have, but it's also to lose.
But I'm going to tell you, when you get that success, it's a reward. That feeling, that high, whatever you want to call it, is unmatchable.
Yes.
By anything.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, oh, well, your kid being born, getting married, those are different. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the reward of coming up with an idea, the hard work, the implementation, and seeing the reward. For me, when I was doing the concerts at the clubs and stuff, to go from playing on MySpace or whatever, YouTube or whatever it was at the time, and finding a band and be like, I think I can make people like them to the point of coming to see them live. I mean, it's one thing to book a band that's got a number one hit and them sell out a place.
Yeah.
That's not as hard. It costs more money, but it's not as hard. Then you find a band that doesn't, and you put 500 or 600 people in somewhere. I would just sit back and like, we did it.
Yeah.
It was a team effort, and it was awesome.
I think that would freak me out. Anything. It's kind of that kind of business would put you on a spot, because I would look at it as, okay, I've got this band. What if nobody shows up? Yeah.
It was nice like that.
And you're going, is it for me? Is it because of them? Did I not do my job? And I couldn't. That's a lot of stress in a little bitty time.
where I think anybody that does that, especially early on in their career, the hardest problem you have is not booking as a fan.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
But the even harder part is booking and paying $5,000 or $6,000 or more for a band that you don't like.
Yeah, I could see that
Because
too.
it's like, how do I do that? I can't promote something I don't believe in.
Yeah.
So it was hard. That was a transition, and sometimes I won it, sometimes I lost it. There was nights I could tell you, man. We did the Memphis rapper Lil White.
I've never heard of Lil White.
He was with 3 6 Mafia. He was the only white guy in that whole clique. And but if you grew up in the late '90s and mid '90s, late '90s, you knew who Lil White was for the most part. And I was like, this is going to do good.
Yeah.
5 people showed up.
Really?
On a Wednesday night for Lil White. And hell, we did another one kind of similar to that. We did one of the guys from New Kids on the Block.
Yeah.
And I think about 12 people showed up for that one.
Good times.
Yeah, but everybody there had a fun time. And can you imagine being the artist, and
yeah,
and showing up and
going, man,
he's having the same. At least he's getting the guarantee.
He's getting paid, but I think it's a mental part.
Is it time for me to hang it up?
Exactly.
I'm playing this dump in Jackson, Mississippi on a Wednesday night.
I've rode this train long enough.
It's
time to get off.
But look, I've fought that fight and got out of the club business earlier than I wanted to.
Yeah.
Anytime it's taken from you, but through your own mistake, I take all the credit in the world, all the blame. It was at my own fault, but when it's taken from you before you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent about 4 years on the sideline, got in the car business and kind of built up, making some decent money and had it in the rear view. And the nightclub gods fell out of the skies like, Clay, here's a free nightclub, basically. Somebody else's money. Just don't screw it up. And got back in it and did really well for about 6 months. And inevitably, I don't know if it was me that screwed it up or just a combination of everything involved, but realized pretty quick that the nightclub business was no longer in my blood. Yeah. The 3 o'clock mornings, 4 o'clock mornings, everything that comes with that. Yeah. So I've settled in being comfortable working for somebody else and doing this on the side.
Yeah. I think after that, you can go that route. And a lot of people do go that route because my wife, she'll never, ever want to work for herself. I don't see it like that, but she says, I get paid. I go home. I don't have to worry about things. And I wake up and do Monday and the business is the business. She kind of does it that route. But, I think you probably learned from your time doing bars and everything else that when it's time is done and then the stress is gone. So it's a learning experience all in one for me. Cause if I closed my store up, would it be because it failed? If it did, yeah, I did something wrong, managed money wrong, or it just wasn't happening. The area is going in a different direction. Or, it's just, there's a lot of events. And when I blame myself, no, I just know that that's something I wouldn't want to do. Do I have something to fall back on? Yeah. Yeah. And so that's another thing with barbering, looking at it, I can go anywhere in the world and get a job. It's a trade. It's not going to college. I was never the college type. I went, but it was, it's more for the party and everything else. It's not me. It's like a kid now can get out of high school, be a welder, make $100,000, doesn't have the debt. And he's living life pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Somebody that's living on a dream of, I have a degree and it cost me $60,000 and I'm getting out making 30. It's not good. Yeah.
Look, there's a part of me that has a little bit of sympathy for this generation that is very upset about having to pay back their college loans. Because they got kind of sold, go to college, be a millionaire, kind of mindset. And then a guy like me, that didn't. I made it to 10th grade. I did finish up with an associate's degree at Hines with a GED.
Yeah, I did.
And it was I skipped 3 years. I went back at 21 to do it.
Yeah.
But, and then just to kind of failed my way forward a little bit. It's got to be tough to see a guy like me be successful when I didn't go to college and I didn't do all that. And I didn't have that network of successful frat brothers and whatnot.
Well, no, I'd say it's I got friends that did that and are very successful in doing it, and that's their path. I'd say it's a reap a reward. I think it's just personal preference. I think we're taught and to go, here's what life is expected. You go to school, you're taught when you get out, you go to college, you get an education, and then from that education, you try to find what you want to do and then do it. But I think the things you read and the things you hear is what 85% of people don't actually really do what they got their degree for. No. And then you have a vast majority of millionaires that aren't college degrees. So.
I'll tell you, and that's what pisses me off too, is you'll go to apply for a good job and they don't care what you went to college for. They just want to know if you went to college. Well, what if the most qualified person didn't go to college?
Yeah.
You know, what's the point?
I think Elon Musk was doing that now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think his motto is he's hiring people that really don't have to have a college
degree.
degree.
He likes life experience.
Yeah.
What is your lived experience?
Yeah. And I think, a good friend of mine, very smart, I think he said it best one time we were talking about this. And he said, you need to work a lot of jobs to figure out what you don't want to do.
Oh yeah.
So then, and I think that's a big wake up during COVID as well. A lot of people got involuntarily laid off, and not for anything they'd done. And so we can put some of it back on the spending, and we can put some of it back on of people said, well, if I'm going to gamble it, I can gamble it on myself. I can do things for myself and try to make my own money.
Yeah.
Now, I had to go to another avenue.
Let me ask you this:
Mm-hmm.
Now that you've got the barber stuff up and going, you got the pet shop up and going. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like the barber going and making that money every day or week or however your schedule works out
easier
gives you a little more freedom to make decisions at the other spot?
Yeah. So, everything is when you go into it, you don't want to micromanage. You're paying people that do what they do. And if they're knowledgeable and they're good and you can put yourself in that position, it gives you some time and freedom. And, barbering's still a job. You still got to wake up. You still got to keep your promise, keep your schedules. People trust you not to jack them up or make them look ugly or whatever. So that's a whole nother stress in itself.
It may grow back, but it don't grow back overnight.
Yeah. And so, I went into barbering when I started cutting hair and taking more time off from the store. Then it's because I enjoyed it. It's a sense of relief for me. Self gratification. It's quick, and that's kind of the art side of me.
It's got a stop and a stop.
Correct.
I mean, a start and a stop.
Yeah. It's you're finished and you have a final product and you get to talk to, you meet all kind of interesting people. And, and I do that at the store, but I've worked in the retail industry since I was 14. So I'm 41 now. And, that back then 14, you can have a driver's permit and a little work permit is what they called it, I think. But, so when you start working and going in that, I've been doing that my whole life. So barbering was something new. It was different. It's creativity. It's a little bit of everything. And that's kind of what I love about it.
Does the pet shop have a website address?
Yes, but it's not up right now.
Is it not? Okay, I was going to put it up here for folks, but.
Sorry, people.
No. What about the Facebook? Just the Pet Shop of Fondren?
Pet Shop of Fondren. Instagram. Let's see. It's bad when you got multiple accounts. The Pet Shop Fondren is Instagram.
Cool. I was thinking about that. I was putting a caption up here on the screen with the name. I was going to put the website up there. But yeah, so what would you say, man? On an average week, how's your time split from the shop to the?
So my day to day, me and my wife, but I work 6 days a week. The store's open Monday through Saturday. Monday through Friday, we're open 8 to 6, and Saturday from 10 to 4. So my day usually starts off now. I used to would go in, but whenever I got adjusted and try to figure out my best times and how I could play everything and manage my time. So from 9, basically the morning from 9 to 9 to 1, I'll be at the barbershop cutting. I'll leave, come to the store, let employees go to lunch, do what they got to do. If they have to do anything, I'm very open. If they got things to do, I know that's life. So I can try to give them as much time as as they want. And,
that's a balance.
Yeah. And then I come back, I'll cut hair from like 2:33. I'll cut usually till about 4. And then I was going back to the store from 4 to 6, close the store down, then going back to the barbershop and cutting at night.
Yeah. 8 to 6 is a lot of hours at the store.
Yeah. It is.
What's that? 12 hours?
It's 10 hours.
10 hours.
10 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. 10. Sorry. It'd be 8 to 8 if it was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 hours. That's strong, man. Especially starting out, you got to be there.
Yeah.
How long have y'all been open now?
5 years.
Where are you at in Fondren?
Depending on which way you go, if you know where Everyday Gardener is in Fondren Place, I'm between Fondren Place and Dueling. So there's a little strip right there. We have Everyday Gardener, Quiznos.
Yeah. It's got the cool neon light at nighttime. You're in that center. Okay.
Yeah. That was my thing. I wanted to put a neon sign up when we first got there.
Yeah.
But couldn't do it. Landlord said no. He had a guy, so I put the neon inside.
But hey, look, neon is a lost art.
It is, and it's still big in some places, and it's coming back. Some of these little trades, but it's not as big. It's not as near as big as.
Well, the problem with it is people can't do it.
Yeah, the blowing glass and everything else. I would learn. I would love to learn.
Well, I think a lot of handmade stuff is making a comeback.
Yes.
My buddy of mine, Bobby Meadows, has a shop out in Byram called RDM Ironworks.
Yeah.
And he does. Okay, yeah, he does. He's all about handmade, American made. Yes. There's a cool little shop there on Capitol Street, the Shopkeep Company, I guess is what it would be short for. And they moved here from, I want to say, Seattle.
Yeah.
But they only sell American made stuff. It's in one of those new renovated things right there. What's that building? The Faulkner building. Mm-hmm. It's right there next to it.
Nice.
But Bobby does the really cool, awesome American made stuff. And you're starting to see more. Like last night, you had on when you were cutting hair, you had on the
apron.
The apron.
Yeah.
That's American made. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it.
That's a winter session product. They make good products too.
Yeah. So you're just seeing stuff like that make a comeback. Because I say all that to say, inevitably, I think neon is going to be one of those trades that comes back around because everything's gone to fiber optic and LED, and it serves its purpose. Don't get me wrong.
It does.
Especially from a financial standpoint. Mm-hmm. And I know that blowing the neon glasses can be cancerous, but surely there's a workaround there where you can do it safely.
Yeah. What's safe?
Just about name your price too.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do it. Yeah. What is safe?
What's safe?
We're all going to die.
I get that. And I've had it. And when you let people recognize really what's safe, it's like main thing in barbering, somebody asked, why is it more expensive to get a kid's hair? And I'm putting sharp objects around your kid's head and it's uncontrollable moving. Like so what's really safe? You can die walking outside.
Man, look, that's a constant thing. People ask me all the time about working in Jackson. Mm-hmm. Like, well, man, you're not worried. I'm like, I've lived in Jackson my whole life. When you're kind of a product of your environment, and it's all you've known, it's just not. You don't think of it like that.
It's not. And I didn't grow up in Jackson. I've always worked in Jackson.
Yeah.
So my whole working life, I've been in South Jackson to where I'm at now, and I'll always stay in Jackson. I love Jackson. It's a central point. And going down Gallatin Street and going down McDowell and Terry Road, that was never a problem. My friends from here, Rankin County was always like, man, you're going to get shot over there and this, but you can get shot here too. But, you get immune to it and you get kind of used to it. It's just part of it.
Well, like people give me hell a lot because of all the things that I speak what I see.
Yeah.
What I see is violence and ugly. I'm going to talk about violence and ugly.
Yeah.
If I tell people all the time, if you're looking for the inspirational pick me up Facebook page, go follow, find it in Fondren or Jackson Free Press, or there's a dozen others. Visit Jackson.
Yeah.
This is like, to me, real Jackson.
Yeah.
And there's going to be good, bad, and ugly involved in that.
Yeah, I think there is, and it's in everything.
Yeah.
You got parts of Jackson that's older. It's kind of like neighborhoods. Neighborhoods start off new, have a nice luster, and then eventually they get older. Something new comes down the pipeline.
We're out here in Crossgates,
Yeah.
and we were talking about the other day about how nice this has managed to stay for as long as it has.
It has. And people keep up and they reinvest in it as well.
Yeah.
You still have a neighborhood pool, you reinvest in it. It's Fondren, my area that I'm in, it was nice at one time. I think it was pretty bad. And people started reinvesting in it, taking chances. Yep. And, if I can have one thing of advice that I could throw out there, not that anybody would take my advice at all, is to think about what you're doing, invest in yourself, reinvest in yourself as much as you can. If you want to open up something and you want to make it nice, or you complained about something, then do something to change it. Like, I didn't like my situation and I was getting tired of it. And so I changed it. And then the barbering came in. It's another form of change, but it's also an insurance policy if you want to look at it like that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing's promised in retail and nothing's promised in business, but you're going to keep living.
But 2020 and the whole pandemic stuff and people the government deciding that they could pick and choose what was essential and what wasn't scared the hell out of me.
Yes.
Because I'll be honest, I was still surprised that the car business, especially the retail side, was selected as essential. And so many other things weren't. I was like, what a terrible, they're going to regret this. Not the car business being essential.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was blessed and grateful. By no means am I complaining. I got to things like how quick it could be taken away from you.
Yes.
And that's when we had been doing the Save Jackson stuff. And I looked at Crystal and I was like, we got to figure out a way to slightly monetize this, if we can. And that's where the radio and the podcasting and being able to put advertisements up on the TV. And I was like, even if it's $50 a week, $100 a month, whatever, let's figure out a way to have something to fall back on.
Yes. And I think that's what opened a lot of people's eyes. If you want to look at a positive of COVID, believe me, I've had the negatives of COVID. That was a positive outlook, because it made people rethink what they wanted to do. Now, did COVID make all this happen? No, the government did on that. They're the ones that shut things down. Essential on a small business level, I think that was played completely wrong, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And when I say completely wrong is, you limit it to what can come in a small business to 10, or, like in my store. If you come in my store, it's rare that you're going to have 10, 15 people in there at a time. It's a small business, and there's not just packed but you can go to a grocery store that's holding 100 plus at least.
Come statewide election time, there's going to be a lot of questions to be answered because of that.
It is. And and I think that's good. It opened people's eyes, and people are going to take it like that. And I think that's another thing that people are going to learn. So, it's with anything, and where we're at, we got to change president every 4 years to 8 years. So it's a time. So during that time, there's going to be a change, but it's going to end. And a lot of sections of government, there's not change. And I think that can play a problem, because if you want change, the situation, you start with yourself. When you improve on yourself and you look, then you can present that to others. And then if that changes their mind, And then you have politicians that look, and I'm on both sides of the fence with that, because I have a lot of Democratic friends and I have a lot of Republican friends.
Sure.
I'm the type of person that I'll take a little bit of this information that sounds good and a little bit of this information that sounds good and come to a conclusion of my own. And, change is always good. Change keeps you on your toes. It keeps you problem solving, because when they do occur, how somebody reacts to it, if they're going to play the blame game, or if they're going to say, this is what we have going and this is where we're going to take it. I think this is the best approach.
No doubt. I tell you that one of the things that really made me sick, I've got some old pictures I forgot to delete out of here. One of the things that really made me so pissed off during the COVID times, especially having been in the service industry, restaurant, nightclub, whatever, it cost me the same amount of money to open up my club, whether I was expecting 15 or 1,500.
Yeah.
The way my bills were structured, it was based on being packed X amount of the time.
Yes.
What they did to those people by telling them, well, you can only have this many people in for this many time, and you can't drink standing up. You can only drink sitting down, patting your head, rubbing your belly at the same time. But you can go to Walmart and people hop on a handstand, and it would just be an absolute freak show. But that's okay.
Yeah.
And I understand that Walmart sells essential items, and bars and restaurants may not sell quote unquote essential, because you don't have to go out to eat. But dang it, it's essential to the people that work there, and that's their income.
I think COVID changed the business industry.
Freedom of choice, too.
Freedom of choice. Freedom of everything. You got to be free, and you got to have some regulation. Regulation is supposed to be in place to do the right thing. In most cases,
regulations to tell me that the food needs to be X amount of temperature to keep people from getting sick.
Yes,
I'm fine with that. Regulation,
health and safety. A regulation of keeping people cleaner, keeping people coming in and not trying to transmit, and you get that, but did it really work?
No.
Exactly.
Well, then, then of course we come out and, you see the Fauci emails where clearly the mask was all political theater.
Yeah.
It still is.
Yeah. And, like I said, there again, in my opinion, we base it off of one guy and what they say, when there's a whole side of other doctors that may say something else, and it's more of like canceling that out or not listening to that. Oh, that's just wrong. Where is it really wrong? We haven't listened to it. We haven't got into that conversation, to anybody about it. Nobody's came on TV and said, well, this is, but how many times do you touch your mask pulling it up? So you're transmitting, you're cross-contaminating. How many times are you really touching your mask?
Are you wearing a clean mask?
Yeah. And so in the hospital, I'm pretty sure if they're disposable, they're meant to be thrown away, not hung on your mirror and put in every time you walk in.
No.
And so there's a good and there's a bad for it, and there's a time and place for it. And I think some of it was misused, misguided. It is what it is.
What I discovered was that our local mayors have way too much power.
Yeah. And In this case, yeah.
And
I would say that definitely.
Everybody thinks I'm talking about Chalkway specifically, and I am talking about him, but not just him. Period. Across the board, our voted on mayors and governor have way too much emergency power to tell us what we can and cannot do in situations. I'm out. I'm out on that, and I think that's something that seriously needs to be looked at by the legislature.
Well, I think that's why we have legislature and city councils, but then it's up to the city council if they're going to work together.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing now is people have stopped working together. It's either going to be a win or a lose. I can't do this because I don't want them to win and I don't want to lose. So, and it's not for the people.
Everything is far left and far right now.
Yeah, and there's no compromise to it in some things, and I've seen people shut people off, which is just totally insane to me because you're not willing to listen. Maybe you might learn. You got it?
Yeah, sorry. I woke up with a sinus infection. It was just like, whoa, whoa.
And I think we can learn from one another, basically.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things that when we got to talking the other night at the Legacy Garage, Ed Means' place. He's a sponsor. We can talk about it. We got to talking there. I realized real quick. I said, me and this guy have some baseline common beliefs. Mm-hmm. I was like, but we're on other ends of the spectrum in some of the other things. And I loved our conversation. Yeah. And I was like, I really like this cat and I want to get him on the show. And one of the things, like, we both have tattoos. Mm-hmm. And
I'm not sure.
And not just your regular, tribal. Yeah. And by all means, if you have tribal ink, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying for guys to step out and get a lot of artsy stuff, to me is unique and cool. Mm-hmm. I've got a few things like that too. We both shared a artist. I want to say Jason Thomas did some of your stuff, right? Yes. Yeah, Jason did my first 3 or 4 before I started getting Frankie Bones to do them. And Jason does amazing work. And I can tell his work when I see it. Yeah, that's why when I saw your arm, I kind of knew, but I wanted to hear it. Mm-hmm. He's very, very noticeable. It was the ink spot there in the front of the Ironworks building, which I ended up living in that building for a while. So it was kind of cool. And then I'm not sure where. What's it called now?
Electric Dagger.
Where are they at now?
They're in the bottom floor of the Fondren building on the hill. Okay. Where Roosters and all that is. So you can call it the basement, bottom floor, whatever you want to call it.
That was like behind Cheney's shop entrance there?
Yeah. So if you go down, you'll take the stairways down, go down to the very bottom, and his place is located down there. There's really good artists come through.
How old were you when you got your first tattoo?
I was 15.
15?
Yeah.
I was 27.
See, I was that guy. We were going to spring break. We were going to Panama City, Florida. Like I said, my parents are very... They taught me to know right from wrong, make your decisions. You're not dumb. Yeah. And so that was one of those things. So when I turned 15, I like the party life. I actually got a fake ID, and I went to Panama.
Fake ID.
Yeah, went to Panama City, and I told everybody I was like, I'm getting a tattoo, and I got a tattoo.
Which one was it?
Oh man, it's embarrassing. No, it's like Spring Break '98. It was. It was a sun around my belly button, actually.
That's right. You told me.
So, but that was my first one, and I've always loved art, and
it's like the Godsmack album cover.
Yeah, and everybody knew me. I loved art, and it's something that I get tattoos for me. I collect from different artists, and it's kind of something that I collect. It's me. If I want to cover them up. If you don't like it, I'm sorry, but I didn't do it for you.
This one here. I'm trying to make sure the camera can see it. The star with the tribal stuff. Mm-hmm. That was my first one. Jason did that. Yeah. And I tried to get all black tribal. He refused to let me do it. Yeah. He's like, trust me, you'll regret it if we don't do color. And we did the color. And that opened up color for me. Mm-hmm. Well, my mom did not know I was getting the tattoo. Not that she has any say so on me in my mid-20s getting tattoos, but you still, grew up when mom was born, And my daughter snitched me out. Mm-hmm. So if I was 27, she would have been almost 3. Yeah. She's like, Daddy got a tattoo.
See, at the time, my sister was older, so she already had one. And I was going to use that to fall back on. And granted, I was living with my mom. I don't live with my dad. Didn't live with my dad. But, it's funny because she didn't really care. She just told me not to get piercings. Yeah. She despised piercings. And got my nose pierced once, and I thought she was going to come unglued. That's just kind of one of those wild things. It's like, it's permanent, but this is not. You don't like it.
So. Mayor Jake says, what's up?
Oh, tell him I said, hey, Jake.
Yeah, man, the tattoo thing's it's been fun because now I go back and I'll cover up one that I regret with something, and Frankie's been great about that. And I could talk about it now. So, the rose here was a 105 logo, which was my nightclub. Regretful.
Yeah.
Got that covered up. And then the grenade over here, which killed two birds with one stone with this one. It was a Highway 80 logo because I kind of wanted a Jackson theme tattoo, kind of a sleeve. You always see that Route 66 Vegas theme, Yeah. I was like, let me do a local version of that. And I got the Welcome to Fabulous Jackson. And I had that. And, well, when I started working on Highway 80, it became unfunny. I was like, I don't want a Highway 80 tattoo on my arm anymore. Yeah. I got that covered. Well, the grenade was my wife's first cousin and one of my best friends growing up, Michael Barber, had a grenade. It was the first time I'd seen somebody get one tattooed. So it was kind of paid tribute. He passed away. And it paid tribute to Micah, and it covered up a tattoo that I no longer wanted to see. Even though it was a really good-looking, bright blue, pretty tattoo. Yeah. But when you're working on 80 and it hangs just enough far down your arm, and every customer asks, did you get that because you work on Highway 80? Yeah. Like, well, you know what? I've had it long enough. I got the pictures to prove it was there. Yeah. And move on from it.
That's another thing with tattoos. It's, it's a little bit more open now. Yeah. Acceptable. I'm pretty sure the barbershop I work into is mainly older people that come in, get a haircut. Then you got me that's just kind of standing out like a sore thumb. And but it doesn't change me as a person.
But your tattoos are very how do I say it? Like post World War II kind of Americana.
Yeah, it's like a classic. But my wife's big in saying that classic will always be classic. Yeah. So if you want something and you're not going to get sick of it, there's a reason it's called classic. Yeah. So it never goes out of style.
Absolutely. Look, if you're just tuning in to the Save Jackson podcast, I'm Clay Edwards, and I've got Josh Gilmer here with me today. And Josh owns the pet shop of Fondren, and he's also a barber there in Highland Village. And tell me the shop name again.
Village Concepts.
Village Concepts. I go to California Concepts in Pearl. It's
Jonathan Boone.
Jonathan Boone. And, it's amazing as I go through my adventures in life, how many people know Boone.
A lot.
It's phenomenal. And the fact that I did not know him until 5 years ago blows my mind that we ran granted, he's 62, 63 years old.
God, is that old?
He's a little older. He looks like Bill Goldberg, Pete, 99, Bill Goldberg. Yeah. But just a great guy, man. I've met some great people from him. And I guess I'm not going to tell that on the air. I don't want anybody in trouble. Just stuff during COVID. Yeah. But I stayed fresh. Like I said, the mayor of Chicago, she goes, she closed all the barbershops and salons, but she said she was a public figure. She had to stay fresh. Yeah, I was like, I'm a public figure. I got to stay lined up.
Yeah. And, there again, that comes that freedom. Yeah. I think there's, you're finding out a lot of people that didn't think before they did something. And that's, if you're going to stop everybody else from doing it, then obviously take the initiative and stop it yourself.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked about this. Yeah. The other night about, knowing good and well that the mayor of Jackson stayed lined up the entire time. Yeah. Meanwhile telling other people they can't make their money.
That's the same as Tater. Yeah. He did it. And there's nothing wrong with looking good. You look good, you feel good. I get that.
Hey, the old saying, right? Look good, feel good. Yeah. Feel good, play good. Play good, the pay is good. Yeah. It's true.
And did they do things safe, and did people do things off the government? Yeah. When you got shut down, you do what you got to do. You got to eat. Bills don't care. Oh. If your business closes or if you get shut down by the government, they don't care. That's the same as a business owner. That's the same as the landlord, because they probably still have rent on it. And if you're not paying rent, they're not getting paid, and they can't pay bonds, what they have out there on their debt. So it rolls.
Yeah. I know Pearl Mayor Jake Wyndham's on here. I would love to have had I had some forethought to bring him in on this, because I would love to get a mayor's opinion, because that's when we met was back last March, and I really got to see things, outside of that social media bubble. Yes. And kind of like how it's really being dealt with on a day-to-day basis, and the struggles and everything that went into it.
I think the big thing is you met the person. Yep. It's one thing to hear and see things, and, when we watch the news, it's edited. It's not live. It's an edited thing, so things, and when you meet the person, Jake's done a great job in Pearl.
We ran unopposed. Yeah, for this time. That says a lot.
That does say a lot. But and I think he took a progressive approach on some things. I'm pretty sure he made some people mad, because you're not going to please everybody. That's just part of it. But you have to take the vast majority. You have to look back see what needs to be done, find a solution, don't argue about it, and come to a good problematic approach and make it happen. If something's in debt, then you look, well, guess what? We got to cut some funds here and we need to put this up and this will bring in more income.
Yeah.
It's there's a right way and a wrong way. I think Jake's doing good.
I think if you go back to the beginning of COVID and the whole 2 weeks to flatten the curve, even if it's a month, it's like, look, 2 weeks may have been wishful thinking. Let's let this ride out for a couple more weeks. Just everybody take a deep breath. Most people would have been on board with that just because of the unknown.
Well, we put an unknown XP date on it too.
Do I know?
I said I think they put an unknown XP date on it too.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Well, something magically is going to happen in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Or the numbers are going to go down because it's herd immunity, or people getting vaccinated, or people just getting sick and getting over it.
Yeah.
People lost their lives. My mother died from COVID. So yes, died in February. So
was there an underlying condition, or was it just straight COVID?
So she got COVID. My mother's had some heart issues with it, but some things that were complicated in it that come from it. So first, obviously, it was the pneumonia.
Yeah.
And then that came in, and then we had some issues. She started getting clots. And so that's, and it sucks. It sucks bad.
Yeah.
But that's also life. You're not guaranteed anything. And so that also opened my eyes up to, like, if you want to do something, do it. Don't let anybody tell you can't, by what you look, how you act, how much money you have. If you want to be the liberal person and do the socialist thing, get with a group of friends. Y'all have the same idea. Open up a business together. Be your own investor to yourself. Be your own investor with your friends. All get paid the same.
Yep.
But, live day to day. Live happy, because you're definitely not promised tomorrow.
No, it's like people talking about mandatory vaccinations and stuff. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a fellow the other day, doing some business with him, and his mom survived cancer.
Yeah.
Got on the other side of it, and her doctor told her that she absolutely needed the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
She died within a week.
Yeah.
After getting the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably get zapped. My account will probably get zapped for discussing that here. But I think the story people really need to know, I highly recommend consulting with your physician. It's as hard of a line as I've taken on vaccines.
Yeah.
Like people know that I'm as anti that as it can get, but I'm not so bullheaded that I didn't talk to my personal physician. And he just said straight up, he's like, Clay, you need to lose a little weight, but nothing about your meds say, or not your, but your what's the word I'm looking for? My stats, whatever it is, all the blood work, P work, everything. He said, you don't need it.
Yeah. And see, my whole thing with vaccines, because I got vaccinated, I'm vaccinated, my wife's vaccinated.
Yeah. I thought I saw a tail growing out.
Yeah, probably I'll have a third eye or something soon. But, and that's the unknown part of it. But I also have friends that are against it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Times since this has brought everybody, it was already a sketchy thing, either dividing from politics. And unfortunately, politics is injected in everything.
Yeah, I'm going to say something on that real quick.
Yeah.
And you make a great point. People know I was a big Trump supporter,
Mm-hmm.
still am. And one of the things I think he will live to regret is the Operation Warp Speed on this.
Yeah.
Because now you have all these Trump supporters like myself who are kind of taking a stance that I don't trust the government. I don't want them telling me I need to get a vaccine.
Yeah.
But then you're like, oh, that's my guy. He got that out there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this torn in between. Do I trust what the guy that I trusted?
Yeah.
To get this vaccine, or do I go with my spidey senses that say this all happened way too fast?
Yeah. You can say it happened way too fast. And I think some things aren't FDA approved. They got rushed through if they are approved. And, that's always a sketchy thing. And granted, the government fails on a lot of things.
Yeah.
And you want to put trust in it because I think everybody's there for the right intentions. The majority, kind of like anything. And, with the vaccine thing, the conversation I've had with the vaccines is like, the best part of it is you have a choice. When they take away the choice, that's when I have an issue. Because if you don't want to get it, good, that's your choice. That's the best part of America. In the U.S., we have choices. We have that freedom and that right. And agree to disagree. we don't have any consequences. You know what can happen. You know the outcomes if you do get something. Your percentages are always there, whether it be 1% or -1% or 95% or 100%. You know, and so I think let people make their own choice of how they want to live.
I agree. Like I say, I'm a big believer in just choice.
Yeah,
like if I wanted to go to a restaurant and during peak COVID, well, that's a decision that I've made.
Exactly, and I think it's absolutely wrong to judge somebody on if they've been vaccinated or not.
Yeah,
what's it matter? It's not you.
No,
and the argument will be, well, you're affecting all of us.
No, we're not.
You know what's not affecting all of us? We have allergies and pollen that affect all of us.
Yeah, the sinus infection is affecting me right now.
And has it killed? Has it killed a lot of people and have a lot of people died from it? Yes. Is it a big, huge majority? On a grand scheme of things, they kept it as minimal as possible. I think everything did great as far as the speed and what it did. You got to think it was a pandemic, it was a virus that spread across the world, and we got it handled in a year.
Yeah,
so that's amazing to me with technology and everything else. It's crappy how it started or how we think it started or it may started and how it spread and the results of it.
Well, I'm going to tell you the thing that I think really woke a lot of people up was, even I'll just say it, even the left side got woke up as this went on about the suppression of information.
Yeah.
Social media giants and big tech deciding what we could talk about.
Correct. And that's not right. And when I say it's not right, it's when you have to edit something or you suppress something because you don't want to talk about it, then why? Because talking about it comes to solutions. When you get difference of opinions and you get ideas in the masses, maybe you don't like what they're saying or you disagree, but that's the whole point. You disagree. So figure something out to come to an agreement. Explain to me why you disagree. Let me learn.
When one whole side of an industry, the tech industry, was actively supporting one presidential candidate, and then you suppress all the information that could potentially make that candidate look bad.
Yeah.
And then you tell us that it's a health thing. I'm going to have a problem.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to come out of this. This ain't over.
Yeah. You're going to have a lot of people call BS and you're going to have a lot of people that are not.
Yeah.
But it's a tit for tat thing.
Yeah, we're really going to see just how deep big tech is in bed with the left-hand side come the next presidential election. I mean, I think we saw it all this time, but what will they do when they're in the position of power and not trying to overcome something? It's going to be interesting because I just have to think that enough people don't like being lied to. Let me make the decision.
Yeah.
If my everybody always talks about the crazy uncle on Facebook spreading lies. Yeah. If I choose to believe or not believe the crazy uncle, well, that's me.
Yeah.
People bought snake oil for hundreds of years thinking it was a miracle drug.
But I think what's been lost though is it's your crazy uncle and you agree or disagree with him, but when it comes down to it, it's still your uncle.
Yeah.
And it's still family. So, in this country, we've agreed to disagree and we have a whole bunch of differences, but we've lost sight of we're still one. When it comes, it's 9/11, when that happened, you saw a lot of people coming together. Everything kind of dropped and went, okay, you've poked the hornet's nest on this thing. So now you're really you're gonna see what it's about. And it's ran out way too long, in my opinion, but it's also one of those things that in times of need, color, race, everything is left by the wayside and it's helping each other out. Miami current event, when the building collapsed, they're still looking for them. I'm pretty sure they're not just going saying, well, let's divide all this up and see. It becomes people. It's life.
Since we've been on the air, and I hate dropping breaking news because I like for these things to age well, but an FBI agent was shot in Jackson during an operation, suspect at large.
Yeah.
And there's a point where you're just like, again, I just remember 9/12/01. You couldn't get an American flag quick enough.
No.
Now, obviously, I'm pro law enforcement and all that, but I'm also anti big government. So I see FBI agent shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I feel a little numb to it because I feel like a lot of times these law enforcement agencies are out to get Americans. And we've been so politicized with a lot of this stuff that I don't even know what I'm trying to say here so much, but we shouldn't be questioning these things. Like I shouldn't see that FBI thing and think, well, you work for the FBI, you put yourself in a bad situation.
No.
I should be like, oh shit, there's an FBI agent just got shot. But they've over politicized this so much. Mm-hmm. Like police shouldn't be politicized.
No, they're the ones.
That's what blows my mind. Like, why do the police have to be? There's Democrats and Republicans and Libertarians and everybody that do law enforcement. It should be to protect and serve.
Yes,
we shouldn't be getting involved in political.
And what things is it should be neutral. And you do have bad people that have bad intentions and make mistakes.
Yeah,
and I think when they're caught, they're handled and dealt with.
Yeah. Well, my problem with FBI is that they have been weaponized.
Yes,
for political purposes. The entire thing has been weaponized for political purposes, and I think that's where. I mean, I understand you have a bad cop somewhere that does some rogue stuff. Yeah. We can go back and forth about George Floyd and Derek Chauvin and all those type incidents, and nobody, either you are on one side of it or the other. Nobody wants to see.
Yeah,
like I just say, those are two guys that were having a really bad day that ran into each other, and something really bad happened.
Yeah, and I think
but. The FBI being weaponized and the CIA being weaponized for political stuff is bad decision.
I think they, with the decisions they have and have to make split decisions, it's a hard job. I wouldn't want to do it. I'm not made out for it. You're going to get put in situations. Hopefully you never are. But if you do, to handle them the right way. And, brings it to a split decision in a second to somebody else's life, or they're going to take yours, then, that's a big thing. And you have to look at the person. That guy's doing his job. That's what he signed up for. Yeah. But that's also, he signed up not to just get a paycheck. I don't believe. I think it's somebody that gets into that wants to do that. They like helping. A nurse likes helping. A cop likes making people safe and controlling it. And I think all this hyped up with the police and everything else, it'd be really good if people just calm down, take a break, let them do their job. They're not, and like I said, you have bad apples, and that doesn't explain to everybody. They're wanting to keep you safe. They're pulling you over. If you're breaking the law, then yeah, you're breaking the law, man. That's part of it. You knew it growing up. Don't speed. You're going to get a speeding ticket if you get caught.
Obey. I hate to say obey. That may not be the best way to say it. Comply.
Yeah, it's not even obey. It's do the right thing.
Yeah,
be a good person. Don't just if a cop comes up to your car, first thing you do is you don't have to pull out your phone and go, "Hey, I'm going to antagonize you to do something or get you riled up."
Yeah.
If he has questions, because let me tell you, I've been pulled over in Pearl, and it's kind of one of the things, Jake. If you're still listening, this is just one of those scenarios. It's about 9:30. I had to drop a schmuck off, which is a barber thing to keep hair off you, to one of my classmates. He didn't have one, and he was taking his boards the next day. So I get out of school at 9 at night. It's a Friday night, and I get out, I run over there. So I'm at his house about 10. Well, I'm coming down Highway 80, coming back to my house, and going eastbound right there by Muskelly's. Cop pulls me over. I know the speed limit. I've lived here my whole life. And he pulls me over, and there's two of them. That's fine. That's their security. I get that, and I'm tired, really don't want to do anything, but that's whatever. They pull me over. What are you doing? I'm coming from school. I know it sounds crazy at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night, but I'm coming home from school. And, you're doing this speed. Yes, sir, I do. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get home. Then it's up to that cop, his decision of, does he want to give me the ticket? Can he give me the ticket? Absolutely. Can I fight it? Was I speeding? Yeah, I get that. You're doing your job. I'm not going to get mad at you.
Yeah.
But if I had a cop pull me over and is like, get out, and doesn't explain himself. I think that the policeman, he did a good job explaining himself. You're speeding. Yeah. Yada, yada, yada. Pulls me over. It's nice. Here, I'm just going to give you a warning. Just try to slow it down. Thank you. I'm on my way. I'm not going out looking to break the law every day.
No, look,
but I'm a different case, because a cop may pull somebody over that just wants to be a pain in the ass and take a picture and be a public announcement on a radio or something.
I said there's a lot of people out there trying to play this traffic stop lottery.
Yeah,
they will. I don't think they necessarily want to become a hashtag, because I don't think anybody necessarily wants to die.
No,
But if they can become a professional victim, they want to become that next civil rights hero that overcame the adversity that they created.
Yeah, I think people have, and people have that mindset on both sides and want to do that. And that's wrong, because that's going to get played into a stereotype all over, and because you're going to have people like that. I experienced it with this show, and it's just, it's testing the cops, and they already have a hard enough time. They already got a hard enough job as it is, and they don't get paid a lot. Like, the reality, you're going out, you could get shot, FBI, and he's not a millionaire. He's an average guy making a paycheck. A lot of them have a second job making hustle side work. And I mean, they're doing that for the love of it. They're not doing it for the money.
Meanwhile, you got some prick trying to become the next Rosa Parks. Yeah. Like statues and everything built for them are just trying to, but they end up becoming a hashtag, because once you start, I don't care what you got pulled over for. It could be a brake light, seatbelt, whatever. But once you decide not to comply, the reset button is hit. Yeah. And everything starts over at that point.
And, I will say this on the flip side of it. I think it's good for cameras. When somebody turns a camera on, because you may catch that one bad apple, and that's what they needed to get him off the police force.
On Apple now, you can say, Siri, I'm getting pulled over. Yeah. And it'll start recording. Yeah. Or Siri, traffic stops. It's something. I'm hoping mine don't pick up and start doing it right now.
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for yourself and accountability. Yeah. Because if you can play it, then you may have said something that was just totally like, well, there you go. That's why this instigated, or that's why this happened. And just, I just push people to calm down, take a breath, live life, man. It's, you could get pulled over, but yeah, you could leave, get in a wreck, and die right then. What'd you do? You cussed out a cop and felt bad.
Well, man, we've got a large part of a demographic of people who don't believe that they have to comply and they get pulled over anymore. Mm-hmm. Like somehow that the summer of love last year wiped the responsibility of what you had to do when you get pulled over away. It's like one bad thing happened in Minnesota, and now it's nowhere does anybody else have to comply with the police. And that's just, unfortunately for you guys, that's not going to be the way that works. No. And we got to this point to where we're at, and we survived so much as a society by being a lawful, law-abiding, consequences and repercussions anyway.
It is.
Society.
It's a structure. When you have laws and you have things like that, it's a structure. It's to organize and make things as simple as and not make it complicated. Laws are set because things can happen, and try to prevent those. You said laws. You don't want to do 110 going down Highway 80, but the speed limit's there. It's there for a reason. And
if you're going 110 on a public road, you need to go to jail because you are putting other people in danger. Yeah, there's a common reason for this. I caught a lot of hell last week for agreeing that they should turn the metro into a misdemeanor holding facility, not a prison, but just somewhere for you to sit down long enough for them to process you. Yes, and to hey, you know what? I probably shouldn't have done that. But if you keep letting people off the hook and they never have to walk inside of jail,
yes, you have no consequences
for petty crimes. Yeah, then you're never going to learn. Yeah. And I don't know why that's so lost on people. I don't feel like I'm saying anything controversial by thinking that, you should probably learn early on that there's consequences for your actions.
Yeah. With the whole Metro Center thing, my generation was around, used to go to Metro. Metro Center was super nice. Yeah. Over there, and things have changed. And to put money back into it and how long it's set, vacant in half the time, I think if it can save the city money, because the city's in pretty bad shape, I think, as far as money wise and everything else goes, I think if they can save that, and it saves and it has good intentions and it's not a permanent thing, or if it is, revitalize it, don't make it look like one. You don't want, and nobody wants to say they got a jail right there out in the open. But if you go into a big city, you're going to have a big high-rise building.
Right to New Orleans. I mean, there's jails with big brick fences around them.
Yeah. It's it's a part of it, and I think if they can utilize it and it saves the city money, that way they can kind of crawl themselves out of a money hole and fix streets or fix plumbing or anything like that, which is that relates to everybody that lives there. That's water. That's the main thing. You're paying for it.
Well, you have a whole group of people who are out here using things and not paying their part of taxes on them.
Yeah, that's a tax.
And they're tearing it up. Yeah. Destroying it. not paying for a driver's license, not having tags on their vehicle, not paying their fines for driving 100 miles an hour down Highway 80.
And that's the little things of breaking the law. It's the law to have those. So that goes back to the same thing as if you're breaking the law.
Yeah, no,
it's
I agree
a part of
100%.
it. If you want to drive, get a license, get an insurance, and have at it.
It blows my mind that it's like such an alien thing that somehow it's just a systemic issue. By needing people to have a license. Well, it is a systemic issue. We have systems in place that work.
Yeah.
And, I understand that maybe you got in trouble for speeding and you couldn't afford your ticket and you got caught up in the system. There should be a way out of that. There maybe should be a path back to having a driver's license and a payment plan and this, that, and the other that's more easily obtainable.
Yeah, absolutely.
To where you're not constantly driving without a license. But man, I can't tell you how many cars we sell to people that don't have driver's license. And it blows, coming from the nightclub business in Jackson, it does not surprise me, but I'm still blown away at just how many people don't have driver's license, but are buying a car. I'm like, that almost feels like that should be illegal to be able to buy a car while you don't have a driver's license. But I'm sure there's some ethical reasons why, they may be buying for somebody else, whatever the case may be. Maybe they can't drive, but they have to have a car for their caretaker to drive them. I'm sure there's a million reasons I can think of. But most of them aren't these folks, and I'm just like, you would rather just keep taking a chance and getting a ticket and getting hung up in the system.
Well, it's not illegal until you get caught, right?
Yeah.
In that case, and then when they get caught, then it erupts. And, there again, it just falls back on the individual person. Do what's right and make it happen.
All right, let's cleanse our palate a little bit here, kind of off the politics and police talk and stuff. The pet shop. Yeah, one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on here was to talk about running a business during COVID.
Yes. So
I'm very interested in how different people overcame that adversity, and what were some. It's all kind of a cluster at this point. I can't remember everything, but what were some of the things? Rules you had to abide by and adjust for.
Well, when COVID first happened and things started shutting down, business owner, first thing you worry about is this going to affect me? How is it going to affect me? What do I have in place in case it does or when it does? When the rules started changing and implementing, it got confusing at first because you had a governor saying one thing, you had a mayor saying another. And, like I said, if you're good about it, you
they were not in concert with each other.
Yeah. And that, I think that's the biggest thing is the lack of information on both their parts to get together and say, look, this is what we're wanting to do. This is what's recommended. And if we can come together and kind of make this a cohesive thing, that would be great. So when mine was essential. We sell dog food. Dogs got to eat. Cats do too. So I was very fortunate that's how my business fell between the cracks. Were we open? Yeah, I was open the whole time, never closed down. My main worry in that business was getting trucks in, because my supplies will come from Dallas. They'll come from Pennsylvania. They'll come from Florida, Houston.
I watched a great video on the VinWiki YouTube channel. So if you're a car guy, it's a great, or girl, it's a great channel to follow. And they did a story with a guy that was talking about driving trucks during COVID and the roads being completely empty and some of the shenanigans that went on.
Yeah. Cannonball Run.
Yeah, it was very Ed Boley and then got the record back. or Ed lost it during whatever
he
it was.
He lost it during COVID. The guy did an Audi and made it look like a cop car.
Yeah.
Average 130 across the U.S.
Yeah, Ed just came through Jackson last week on that current run.
On the Gold Rush?
That's it, the Gold Rush. Yeah. And look, I'm going to tell you that I'm getting a little off track here, and I'm the king of rabbit holes, so I do apologize.
No worries.
But that YouTube channel, so at the dealership where buy her, pay her lot. So after tax time ends in early April, late April, we're dead for a little while. Now, this year's been different because of stimulus money, and the market's different. People are looking for used cars now because they can't buy new cars. We've got a whole different type buyer than we've had traditionally. And it's been fun. It's been busy. It's been fun. But I say all that to say 2 years ago, I discovered the VinWiki channel during the downtime, and I was watching YouTube at my desk, and it was watching that got that fire going in my belly to like, hey man, I think I can do not car talk necessarily, but I think I can do stuff like this and do video. And that was the little crack in the door to start making videos, and
that's what you need
and all that stuff. And ironically, Ed Boley and Vinwiki was sort of my inspiration for moving into the video realm of this.
Yeah.
And it found a passion, because I'd gotten a point in life where I had lost passion for anything. It was just go to work, go home, drink, work, home, drink, work, home. And there was zero passion. And then I stumbled into taking some pictures of empty buildings and stumbled onto YouTube about the same time.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm looking forward to doing something again.
And I think that's what people needed. And I think that's what COVID did on a positive side. Yep. So, it's always good to take a positive out of a negative situation. And I think a lot of people did exactly what you did. You had a lot of downtime. And when you have downtime, you get to thinking and about everything.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You found something that you wanted to do. It could have been a hot side hustle. It should be a side hustle. Hobbies don't pay, but guess what? That's how things grow. If you stick with it and tough out the tough times. And that's I think that's good. And I think a lot of people just did that. And with that, that goes back to, some of the job people that aren't in the restaurant business anymore, that don't want to be waiters or servers, like I was watching a YouTube thing and this kid got laid off, and next thing you know, he started a OnlyFans page doing what he wants to do. Yeah. That's his thing. And he made $41,000.
Yeah,
like if you made $41,000, I'm pretty sure you're not going to go back in the restaurant business.
And you ain't never made $10 an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to backtrack, because I didn't mean to, I do want to pick back up there, but I do want to finish up about you said it was hard you're worried about getting your trucks.
I was worried about getting products. They're shutting down state lines. You really don't know what their business is doing.
Yeah.
In a warehouse situation, they're getting products in, third party sending them. And so the unknown, it's like, am I going to place an order and it may be here tomorrow, it may be here in 3 weeks, maybe here in a month, may not ever get here. So if you don't have it, you can't sell it. If you can't sell it, you ain't making money.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a easy business 101.
People learned a lot about the supply chain.
Yes. Yes. Truckers are amazing.
Yeah.
They, if that gets cut off, done. Done. Guess what? You can't go to that grocery store if a truck don't pull up and unload it. Yep. They're not growing it out back.
I will say this to that is I've put a concerted effort in to locally sourcing as much as I can.
Yeah. Oh, and
for food and anything I can.
Now, seeing that there again, that's what that did do. From what I've seen, a lot of restaurants that started doing that, it's all homegrown stuff. They started, self-supplying out of the, not out of the state, but in state.
Yep. And the ag commissioner, Andy Gibson, did open it up, make it easier. Look, I don't know the exact ins and outs of the law, but where it makes it easier for Mississippi farmers to sell beef straight to consumer.
Correct. Yes.
Now, and that's huge, because you got somewhere like buddy of mine, Bradley Coker, has the Coker Farms store in Brandon, and there's hundreds of others where you can go buy a whole cow now.
Yeah.
You can bypass the middleman.
And see, I was before that, like I'm not a farmer and I don't have a field or I don't have cows, but I was in the business of selling bovine equine products. So I knew a lot of cattle farmers. I knew a lot of dairy farmers, and I got it good. I bought a cow.
Nice.
And so he's like, you want to buy? I bought a cow, and they fed it, and they're like, we're gonna.
Is it dead now?
Oh yeah. He was like, we're gonna take it and cut up if you want to. I was like, yeah, that's great. And so when they called me to see how many steaks and what all I wanted, I was kind of dumbfounded of how much meat you can get for the price I got it. Cattle business wasn't just through the roof.
Is it a half cow for $500 roughly?
It just depends on depends on what it yields. So whenever it's dressed,
I'd looked at a couple options, and my option of my issue, of course, is space.
Yes. So I had enough. That was when I pulled up to get it at the slaughterhouse, and my order was ready. I had all the steaks and everything. I had a Tacoma, and smaller truck,
best truck in the world.
It is, love it. But it filled up the back of my truck, and with these bags and boxes, and I was kind of at a oh god moment, because I knew I didn't have that much freezer space, and I didn't want to waste it. So my friends ate really good.
Yeah,
I was giving it away, going, "Hey man, I got some steaks, I got some stuff I'm going to bring to you."
Yeah,
because I filled up my.
But you still came out good.
Yeah, price.
Price
point was great.
You can give the rent. I ain't giving away the ribeyes.
Yeah.
The fillets, that like the real steak, but I got this other steak over here, maybe some sirloin.
Here's a flank steak.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, look, I've learned all new ways about cutting steaks and the different cuts of steak and how one steak can be named this cut this way, and you do it one little different way here, and it's a whole different kind of steak.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool getting to see that, and you're seeing that craftsmanship and that I call that kind of handmade.
You're seeing that. You're seeing butchers coming back.
Real butchers, yep.
That's I had a kid in the store the other day. We were talking, and I'm good at making small talk with people, and he was wanting.
Says who?
He was wanting to go into butcher school, and I was like, well, that's cool.
They still have that one at Heinz, I think.
Yeah, and I was like, you don't really hear about that. Somebody being a butcher. So then
they're becoming an apprentice at a butcher.
Yeah. And so then, you start thinking about it like that. And it's like, well, cool, man. I know some people that own restaurants and, get you in, it's kind of networking, get you in with them, get a local butcher, get a butcher shop.
Yeah.
I'd love some nice ceviche or anything like that. I'm down for it.
Oh, no. I think it's cool. I think that is one of the, and like I say, I want to make sure I give a shout out to Commissioner Andy Gibson because, him changing that law or getting that law changed or however that worked.
It took a restriction and it opened it up for the people that needed it.
Yeah.
And the people that can use it.
Yeah.
And it saved money.
It benefited Mississippi farmers.
Correct.
And consumers.
It kept the money in the state.
Oh man, what a novel concept.
Yeah. And I mean, that's, I've always being from Mississippi, I think as a whole, you can go outside of the state and, whether you like it or not, you're going to get stereotyped. You're Southern, you're a redneck, you're a racist, we're the armpit of America. We're that other, the landmass.
Yeah.
Wasn't that something?
No.
So, I mean, we don't get credited.
Over and over.
Yeah. We don't get credited enough. We're silent. But I'm proud to say I'm from Mississippi. Everybody from Mississippi, you have to have some grit because you're behind the 8 ball on everything.
Yeah.
We don't have big tech here. We don't have a lot of industry, but we have a lot of stuff. We're just not very open with it. And you can go to downtown Jackson and there used to be a plastic mold injection place. Yep. I think they were known for making the duck calls. I won't throw that.
Primos.
Yeah, I won't name that. The other company out there that was going to Monroe that were kind of famous. And you can find metal fabricators. You can find steel. I mean, we have a lot of stuff here that we don't just put out there and recognize.
Well, one good thing, and this is why I get a chuckle when guys like the guy that harassed your comment section, your reviews because you're coming on the show. Mm-hmm. I was pro changing the flag.
Yeah.
And
it needs to be.
It wasn't one of the most popular things to be a conservative, but I have met others who were too, kind of as I've gone. I've been kind of outspoken about it. I'm like, man, it was just time. You can look at it two ways. You can look at it like, well, they took something from us. Or you can say, we held out the longest, we won.
I mean, it's,
and however you want to look at it, it was time.
I think it was time. When something has a negative impact, when it starts to have a negative impact or has a negative impact, then change it. You got to look out for the better of the state. If it's going to hold off things and have opinions, that run deeper than our property lines, and that's, then it's time to change. And you come to what we did. We come to a good compromise, I think. And I think even the changing of the flag, how that kind of even happened on that process was a little odd, but
I didn't like the process, but
I thought it was odd, but it was a change, and I think also with all this stuff going on and the negativity and the racism and all this, we fail to look at a person. It's a person, whether I come on your station or go somewhere else, it's don't judge me because of that. Or don't judge a person because of what they're going on. I could, that guy don't know me from a can of paint. I could have came on and just did nothing but been totally opposite of you, and that don't make me less a person. But he didn't know that.
No, that was an attack on me, not you. He was just
and,
somebody else. He is the face of cancel culture in Jackson. Yeah. He boasts about it.
Yeah.
Brags about getting people fired from their jobs.
And it's like I said, it don't make me mad. It's a person. The good thing is he has the freedom to do that. He has the option and opinion, and that's on him. That's the way he did it. I'm not mad at him.
No, he hit one of my sponsors too. I mean, he's hit several. It's been a nuisance for years now.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it is. I don't know what to do about it. If I do anything, I'm the bad guy.
Best thing you do is do it. Cancel culture eventually cancel itself out. Just ignore it.
It does.
So look past
it. The script will flip.
Yes,
inevitably.
What's the end game?
Yep.
That would be my thing. What's the end game?
Just being miserable.
Yeah. If there was a utopia where everybody was the exact same, let me know.
I don't know that I would want to be in a utopia.
No, because
that doesn't sound very utopian to me.
You don't learn anything from somebody that's different. I mean, that's the same.
No.
You got to have somebody that's different, get a different opinion, assess it, and learn from it.
Well, somebody told me one time on Facebook a couple of years ago. They said, you're just, you're in an echo chamber, and I thought about it. It pissed me off for a second. I thought about it, and they were right. I think that's what made me mad.
Yeah.
I was like, well, right. I am in an echo chamber. So I put a concerted effort into not being in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And a lot has happened, I think it's good to get other opinions. And we have to remember everything ain't far left, everything ain't far right. The majority of us really are in the middle.
Yeah.
But it's the loudest voices on each end.
Yeah. The word coexist should
be a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's the ones that want that the most that actually do that. And there's some that portray they want that the most, and they go all the wrong ways of doing that.
No, it's the erased racism people are typically the most racist people that you'll meet.
And it doesn't. I don't think racism is limited to.
And obviously, we should erase racism. I'm not pro racism, but I don't feel like saying that to me leads credibility to it by even discussing it. I just think that we all know that it's bad. You shouldn't be a racist. On to the next thing. But I can't control anything in somebody else's heart.
You can't control anything. But this stuff, like when I was a kid, I went to Pearl Public School.
Yeah.
Grew up with every race that was in there. You're going to have a majority and you're going to have a minority. Either way, if you go to Jackson, you're going to have a minority, you're going to have a majority. But the thing is when you're a kid, you don't look at somebody like that. When you're a kid, when you're small.
Well, that's why
if you're out playing in the neighborhood.
That's why I have a problem with them injecting critical race theory and all this stuff into schools at a young age. And they have white kids writing essays about how they could treat their black friends better. Like, why would you even introduce that?
Yeah.
That at an early age and telling somebody that they're different.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense to me.
And it don't. And I'm pretty sure to some people it does. And, that's just an opinion based. Now, what is it? If it's forced on your kid, I think that's kind of, you should have the choice. That's not right. Correct. If you want to make it an elective class, take it. It's a theory.
Exactly. Well,
it says it's a theory.
Yeah, we can save that one for another day. But when my sinuses aren't exploding,
you're blowing your nose on.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's either that or my options are limited.
Yeah.
I know. It's like you'll go back and watch. It's like Clay's blowing his nose. Like, well, it's either that or I have a mess in my beard.
Yeah,
it's like lose. Pick your poison, as they say.
Yeah.
So, but it was either I didn't want to cancel this. Tomorrow's radio show is going to be a replay. I've already told him, I said, don't feel good. It is progressively going downhill.
Yeah.
I said, 5 a.m, probably not happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I picked a good replay and told him to roll with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think people should have choice. I think that's what it all comes down to. We should have choice. Our kids shouldn't be forced to.
No. I don't have kids. So I'm talking from something of no, if I did have a kid, I wouldn't want it. But there again, I would teach my kid too, or you should as a parent, right and wrongs. You have right and wrongs. Like if your kid says something inappropriate, address it. Like then,
my 2 girls are out of school while they're into college.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal's youngest is going to be a senior this year at Brandon. So we're both. Will have missed this nonsense that kids are fixing to have to go through, and it was one of the we had talked about possibly having a kid when we got married, and one of the things that concerned me about that was having to raise a kid in these very uncertain times. But I don't. Then there's that part of me that's like, if people are going to laugh when I say this, but I do consider myself a smart individual. My wife is much smarter than me. Smart people don't need to quit having kids.
No,
that's
why I don't.
We've got. I know I'm going to catch. I know I'm going to catch some hell
That's
about
why
that.
I don't have any.
But we cannot let idiocracy become a roadmap.
Yeah,
that's got to stay fiction.
Yeah,
it can't become nonfiction.
No, I think being a kid these days, and even in like high school, junior high, I couldn't imagine growing up as a kid in this day and time.
No,
because when we were growing up, we didn't. We were there before cell phones, and so to have something with a camera on it, like
people used to catch me talking crap about somebody on a 3-way call, and then I would see that. Then I'd see that person I said something about the next day and get punched in the eye.
Yeah. Well,
I heard what you said.
Yeah,
I can imagine
things were solved, but now it's like it relates to now. So you could do something as a kid, or just think if they actually had cameras and stuff, and go back. And you're pulling something back 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
And going, well, this is what you said. I mean, you're a totally different person. I'm a different person now than I was 20 years ago.
Well, these people who go back and like on draft night of a sport, and somebody gets drafted and they go back 10 years on their Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like, first off, if I'm up for the draft, I'm deleting my Twitter. Yeah. But you shouldn't have to.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to.
But grown adults shouldn't be digging through some 18-year-old kid's Twitter looking for something. Oh, he was pro-Trump.
It's kind of weird at first. It's kind of stalkerish, but they're trying to get a reaction out of it. It makes unfortunately, we live in a world where negative things makes better news than positive things.
I tell people that all the time. I'm like, hey, look, I could post rainbows and butterflies for a week and it would have 2 or 3 engagements.
That's like it's funny because it's like messing with Jake. Jake, I'm going to throw you out there. Jake's done a lot of positive things, but I can find the one thing that I'm looking at that I could just throw out there just to pick with him.
Sure.
And I'm riding down the road going, hey, why is that still like that? And knowing it's going to get fixed, but I mean, I can pick out that one negative out of everything.
Highway 80 is going to be his legacy. I promise. Every conversation I have with Jake is at some point in time, the revitalization of Highway 80 is brought up. And I rode through there yesterday because they're doing that road work on 20. So I got called in it going to work. I was like, coming home, I'm coming up 80. I'm not getting hung up. I almost rented a car right in front of like the Barber College and stuff because I was looking and I'm noticing things that he's told me about happening. I'm seeing new facades being put on the front of buildings, painted buildings, all this, that, and the other. I'm seeing words turn into actions.
Yes.
And it's very cool.
He's reinvesting into the community. And you
and
don't see it full blown.
People accountable.
Yeah. You don't see it full blown like that, except in Pearl. And like I said, Jake, I think growing up, and I've known him since I was a kid. We grew up together.
Yeah.
And, everybody way back then said he was going to be mayor, and lo and behold, he was. And I think his life set him in the direction he was meant for what he's doing now.
Oh, yeah.
It prepared him from him being a cop, that whole situation, and that prepared him for what he's doing now. And I think he's fit in really well. He's kind of a role model for it.
He is. Look, I'm going to tell you, since I started hanging out with Jake and Fred Shanks and some of these other people, it's been very inspirational for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm watching what these guys, same age, same background, basically. Mm-hmm. I'm watching what they're doing with their lives and the progress they're making. Yeah. It's like, I can do that.
Yeah. Jake, Jake grew up with a small business background as well from his dad.
Yeah.
With Wyndham Optical and everything.
Yeah.
And that's, his family here, he did it. I can say very confidently he did it.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's one thing as I see that Watkins construction up there, the guy that I work for started that. And then he sold it to the guy who has it now, who worked with him for a long time. Yeah. Michael Deere, and who grew up, same thing, out there in Byram, South Jackson. But it's just these small businesses, man. Mm-hmm. All I can go through all these sponsors here. Every one of them is locally owned. Yeah. I say small. Watkins is the biggest roofer in the state as far as I know.
But it had to start from somewhere.
Yeah, and it did. It started, I can't even remember the story. But I've heard it a million times. Yeah. It's some version of it. It started with them, Steven doing stuff for his dad. Yeah. And then just growing it. Yeah. Lakeland Glass and Tint. Yeah. We'll get Jason Anderson, great friend, locally owned, has multiple businesses. Same thing.
I got my car tinted there.
I need to take that out. I interviewed them the other day. My fellow here, man, this is something that I do to help them out. Danny White. I interviewed Stevie Blaze from Lillian last week, so I still got their pictures up there. Danny White, a large portion of the money that they make cutting yards, they give back in charity.
Yeah.
he still lives over there in one of the worst parts of South Jackson.
But he gives back to his community.
Gives back. He cuts my parents' yard.
Yeah.
And of course, there's you, the pet shop, locally owned.
All and the thing is and what you were saying, like, well, it's now the biggest one in Mississippi and everything. That everything's measured by success, but it's where you want that success. They grew it to a statewide business.
Yeah.
The father, son, his success. I'm pretty sure he gets more gratification and then feeling better, making money to give back to a charity that he likes.
Oh yeah,
and that's
he does.
In my eyes, that's success.
Look, it's one of those things, without getting to him and I's agreement, but it's one of those things why I give him big real estate in what I do here, because I know that he gives back.
Yeah.
And it's not questionable. It's like I don't have to wonder. I know.
Yeah.
And he's a good guy that stayed in the community when finally I broke. I couldn't take it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got our folks at Black Axis Throwing Club here. Keith and Kathy, great people. Both years of law enforcement and fireman background.
Yeah.
Opened up a unique concept that nobody else had done here. It's hard to be the first at something anymore.
It is, because you take the risk. You step off the cliff.
Yep, and they've got two, and they're both growing, and they're great people. Let's see here. Oh, this is one of my favorite stories. Jonesy, and you get a Jonesy pack for coming to do this.
Can I get the cow pal?
You can. You can get the cow pal and a barbecue sauce of your choice. I'm down to one ecstasy. You can't have my ecstasy.
No, like the cow pal.
You get the cow pal. Jeff Jones, man, like he owns a company where he sells I think it's prosthetics.
Yeah,
something
big
along,
business.
Yeah, something along those lines. Medical, or is it internal organs? Anyhow, it's big business.
It's a medical supply.
Yeah, and he started this through a passion from growing up doing barbecue. And I did a great 2-hour radio show with him the other day, and our server fried at the station, and it got lost forever.
Nice.
Just the one show of the 57 or 8 I've done that I don't have available for anybody to go back and listen to. But we'll do another one. And but he started doing competitions with his dad when they were young, and he got into doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of circled back to it. And everything's done scientifically. I mean, it's just a really cool deal. And you can go to, this is a plug here. You go to jonesyq.com, and if you spend more than $20, use this code SAVEJXN at checkout, and that's free shipping. So it's about $10 to get one of those things shipped. So if you buy two, you get a third one for free in essence.
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
Just a great company. And it's this ecstasy. Everything, by the way, is zero carbs. So if you're on any kind of low carb diet, you can use all this stuff on any of it, even your pig pals and cow pals and money honeys and sweet stuff that is not done with sugar.
Oh, that's nice.
It's cool, man.
That really is, actually.
So can't say the same for the barbecue sauces, but the rubs are healthy. And I just pro small business, Jason Frost, and then right here out of Brandon, Mississippi, with Generator Power Solutions. Who don't need a backup generator? Whether you can afford it or not, it's a different story. But we all need one.
Yeah.
And
I think Katrina let us know that.
Yeah. Then my good buddy here, Flint, over at Coleman Taylor Transmission in Jackson. That place has been there forever. He bought it from the guy that started it, and he worked there with him and everything. And they stay backed up for 6 months. They don't need to advertise with the Clay Edwards show, but they do it for brand recognition and because they like giving back to a small business like mine. And who wouldn't want to be affiliated with a legendary small business like Coleman Taylor?
Yeah, I mean that, or it's got a drag car like that.
Oh, I mean, look, I'd have probably done their advertising for free just to be able to use that picture.
I just want to ride in it.
And my buddy Kevin Roberts, Dumpsters of Mississippi here. Kevin founded Lakeland Glass and Tin originally, and he had another business, or still has a business, where they go to car dealerships and that outsource their picture taking for their cars.
Yeah.
That's how I met Kevin. First month or two in the car business, I worked at Great Daniels Ford, and they talk about starting at the bottom. Yeah. No knock on Great Daniels Ford, but just having to start and learn the business from ground zero. After being self-employed for 15, 20 years, it was very humbling and terrible experience. But I remember meeting Kevin. And Kevin was always so nice to me when everybody in the car business was such a dick. Kevin was always so nice. And he was like, I said, man, why are you nice? He's like, well, man, you may be running this place one day. He's like, I want to treat everybody the same. It took 10 years, but I was used car manager at Great Daniels Ford at one point. And I still do business with Kevin today. When I needed a sponsor, he was the first person to sign up so I could get on radio.
Yeah.
The Dumpsters of Mississippi. So people supporting each other.
Yeah.
You know, man, I just think it's really, really important. Yes. And I've been supporting him for long before there was a Save Jackson. I was sharing their stuff on social media. Mm-hmm. And, it's cool for that to come full circle. Of course, Nick Fulton at USA Pawn, great people. He was another one. He's like, I want to be your first paid sponsor, period. Yeah. And he was.
That's good. It's reaching out. It's given to you. It's helping you do what you want. The passion. Or I think the word passion is. But
it helps. Great. It helps fund some of this equipment and stuff. I mean, it's not paying the bills per se. It may one day, but it is. It allows me. It's like, okay, I'm chipping away just enough.
Well, you don't know unless you try.
And people trust you with their brands.
Yeah.
Even when there's little digital terrorists running around leaving bad reviews. Yeah. You get these. To me, growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, USA Pawn is an iconic brand here. It's the largest pawn shop in the States right there at the McDowell Road exit. Yep. It's just, I like iconic local brands. And what Jeff Good and them guys do down in Fondren and around there, iconic. Yeah. I mean, if Jeff ever really wanted to do it, he could run for mayor. I mean, not just run. He could be the mayor of Jackson if he chose to take on that headache. Yeah. But why would you at this point?
I think if you would and you want to, it's because you really love it
and you think you can fix it.
Well, yeah, you think you can fix it. I think when a lot of people get tired enough. So with this, like everybody's bashed the mayor and does it because he's kind of the head political figure and that's who you see. But what hasn't changed, and we've been through mayors. We've had some good ones. We've had some bad ones. As far as all of them, I think Chuck Wade's did a little bit better than the majority of them, in a sense. The new mayor. But what hasn't changed, or what you haven't seen change, is like city council.
Yeah,
I think they're the ones you got to vote on things and everything else. And
the best one that we had on the city council, and we'll agree to disagree on the Chalkway being good, but the best councilman that we had was that dang brain fart here off the top of my head. My buddy from South Jackson who just got moved on to be House Representative, DeKeither Stamps. Mm-hmm. DeKeither, we needed
the Stamps family, with the burgers and stuff, right?
I'm not sure if surely they're related, but DeKeither from the Southwest Jackson area, Highway 18 down that way. I mean, he's a good dude. He was in the Marines. I always like to make sure I say he's not a former Marine because those guys, there's no former or retired Marines. They are Marines.
Yes.
But he got to fly around with Bill Clinton. He was the one doing that all the time. So the Salute Guard or whatever it's called. And he comes back here and he went to Forest Hill High School and he's on city council. He's a dude like Jake is to Pearl.
Yes.
DeKeither is that to Jackson. Yeah. And I hated to lose him. But maybe he can do more things for Jackson from a representative standpoint than on the city council.
Yeah. I think it's got itself in a hole in Jackson. Like I said, love Jackson. Jackson's always had good soul, had good things come about. I think how it was ran poorly and some issues. It's gotten to a situation where it needs work and it needs change. And that's starting with the city council as well. How long have some of them been there? Like on a.
They've been there too long.
Yeah.
I mean, Stokes needs to go. They all need to go.
It's just anybody. I think if you look at somebody's district or you look at their ward and the people there can wake up and walk out and go, man, how long has it been like that?
Yep.
And the thing is, with how long has it been like that? And then you look at the person that runs that district and how long have they been in office? Yep. So it's wanting change, but not changing the people that change it.
They just voted a girl in that beat the incumbent. Was it Virgil? No, not Virgil Lindsay. Anyway, beat the incumbent, and they can't really even prove that she lived here long enough.
Yeah.
Really got residents up in Madison, but now she's representing the Presidential Hills area.
Yeah.
But that's not to say she might not be the best person for the job. Everybody seems to think that she's the best person for the job, and if she can fix it, I frankly don't give a damn where you live.
Yeah. Time will tell. If you can fix it, you can come in and change things. And bring it to a positive. Mm-hmm. Nowadays you hear as well, it's when there's something happen, it's a blame game. My dad taught me, and I guess that's kind of the military thing, is you can have a problem, you approach the problem and you fix it. Blaming something and not doing anything about it is kind of the easy way out, or not wanting to approach the elephant in the room anyway.
Yeah.
Take the problem you're presented with. Jake had his own set of problems, I'm pretty sure. And, You didn't see him coming out and blaming, so we can't do this because of that. No, he tried to figure it out. And he found solutions, and he made things happen. It may be at a slower pace, but at least some things happened.
Same thing out here in Brandon with Butch Lee. I mean, Brandon's always been a nice little quiet town, but let's just be honest, it was borderline Mayberry.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you come out here and you came out here to sleep.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything, or of course, to buy a car.
Yeah.
You buy a car and sleep. And that was really about it. And
that's pretty much it.
He has brought Brandon into the 21st century kicking and screaming.
Well, you know, and that's the thing now I think little small towns are focusing on small business because, you know, and Pearl did it too, as well as Brandon and the Rankin County as a whole, just how it was. There was small business, but there wasn't like a lot of small business restaurants or a lot of small business shopping centers.
Well, the margins are so small in the restaurant business. If you don't have liquor, you really can't open a restaurant.
And so they were behind the eight ball, in which, you know, supporting a small business takes community effort.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Fondren is super small business, super community effort. You know, you're going to have that, and you got to win your customers over. And it ain't even a matter of winning them over. You got to present them with something that they need and fill a void. Yeah, and fill it with the knowledge as well.
There wasn't another pet store over there, was it?
No.
I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it now, and I know that Fondren Belhaven area has a lot of animal lovers over there.
It is, and it's like I said, it's a very community oriented place.
Yeah,
and the people that they're proud of it. That's kind of like you have Eastover, and you have the ones that recognize themselves as leftover and in between.
Yeah,
and I think Pearl and Brandon's kind of stepping their game up and doing that. And with the warehouse and the gallows and everything else, it's becoming small, a little small. Yeah, the amphitheater as well. And the amphitheater was needed. And that's something I think Jackson could have banked on as well. But,
Jackson did the same thing with the Trustmark Park.
Yeah.
You know, the Braves, I mean, they tried. I mean, everything works out for the best in the long run.
Yeah.
It's worked out great for all parties involved.
You know, and that's what I'm saying now. You know, you see the riff in the news of you know, well, they shouldn't do that. It's going against us, pulling money from Jackson. Well, how about you take an approach of working with somebody, saying, yeah, we can do this. We have the hotels. We have the amenities and stays. We have the restaurants.
What was that?
Oh, those keys.
Oh.
I thought I was shot, though.
Well, it was so loud through the microphones here.
But you know, and to have that and work together, make something good better. You know, bank off of it. You can have that. And, you know, Pearl has his hotels. I think Brandon has a few. But Jackson's got an accommodating for people coming in.
But Jackson's done, I'll say it so you don't have to. Jackson's done a very, very good job of playing the victim and crying about, well, why did these other communities build new convention centers and whatnot when we have this one here? Well, because you've mismanaged it and mismanaged the area around it, and nobody wants to come. For the most part, people don't want to go to Jackson in its current state. So these people have filled a void. These people aren't competing with Jackson. Like they built a new one in Flowood. They're not competing with Jackson. They're competing with Monroe, Birmingham, Memphis, New Orleans, and these other markets.
Yeah, if anything, the casino in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're competing with them. They're not competing with Jackson. Yeah. Jackson's going to draw. You know, it's just a different deal.
Yeah,
you know they're filling a void in their towns, and you can't worry about what Jackson is or isn't going to do. And I hate to feel like that because I mean. I get from a core base thought process that you need Jackson to survive and be a healthy town. I agree 100%. But if the city isn't going to do anything for itself, its neighboring communities damn sure shouldn't do it for them.
You know, I think the city not doing anything for itself speaks some as well. You know, from permitting to everything else, you're not going to get a lot of help.
Hey, look, I've said it since I started this podcast, and I've been saying it for 20 years. When you're in business in Jackson, you're in business against Jackson. I've never seen anything like it. No. I've never seen a municipality so hard, especially to be in the condition it's in. It's one thing if you're talking about Madison and how Pearl's come along and these places that the bar has been raised. Mm-hmm. But to see what Jackson lets, you know, selectively slide versus not, is mind-boggling to me.
You know, I would say it's a missed opportunity. Yeah. If I can say that. Jackson can accommodate a whole lot of stuff. So whenever we had someone, I think Dave Matthews, whenever I saw him at the amphitheater, you know, he said it best. He's like, I flew in, we stayed in Jackson, And the new hotel that was built, I heard the restaurant's nice. They got good drinks. Was the Marriott?
The Weston.
The Weston. That's it. Sorry,
Yeah.
Wrong one.
It's gorgeous.
It's doing good things. It's good. Got a lot of art. It's new. But the thing is he said it was a zombie. It's like a zombie town.
Who said that now?
Dave Matthews.
Okay.
So when you have somebody that flies in, and people that's never been to Jackson, they get here and they get on a weekend, and you drive downtown, it's dead.
Oh yeah,
it's sad because it should have an entertainment district, and they've been working on the entertainment district for 20 plus years.
It would never happen.
Yeah, but
not on Fair Street.
I think it could, and I honestly think it could. I think it could if it could open up, and you would let people say, here's the buildings we have vacant.
Well, the problem is
the
historical society and the bonds and the taxes and all this other stuff. At least that was the problem at one point. Is the Mississippi Historical Society has their hands all in that, and JRA owns it. And
if they would just, if you can get a building, if you can group guys and say, let's say me, never been in the bar business, don't know anything, but I want to take a shot at it. I think I got a plan. I want to invest my money in it, and because now you can probably get some of it really cheap. Real estate's probably really cheap around there on some ends.
Yeah,
and so when you get it, they need to let you say, okay, sure, you want to get it. Here's what the lease is. Have at it. And let that person roll the dice and see how they bring it. All the city really needs to do is provide security and necessities for them.
Yeah, there's been talk, of Capitol Police taking over policing downtown. I mean, but it should happen because if nothing else, it could free up officers to patrol the rest of Jackson.
From what I hear, they're low on that too.
Yeah.
And when you don't have enough, they're working with what they got, but make it incentive for them to get police officers. Now it's been so negative. Like, there's no way if I had a kid or if I knew somebody that's like, I think I'm going to be a police officer. It's like, are you crazy right now?
Yeah.
Because it's so heated. It's just, and it's nothing to saying, hey, here's what you're doing. You're setting yourself up not to make a lot of money. You're going to get harassed, and you're probably going to get yourself into something that you may or may not know how to deal with, or the outcome could come wrong, and then you're under the 8 ball for it.
Look, I talk to guys all the time that have gotten out and are doing other things, and it's like, man, just you look at the direction things are going, and it's not getting better.
No, it's not, and it's safety. People are going to go where they feel safe, and they're going to spend money. Like trying to get some of my friends over here to come to Jackson. Jackson's not bad. It's bad if you look on the news, and it's bad in some areas. And yes, you can get killed anywhere, and you can have that happen in Brandon or the Reservoir or Madison or Pearl. Things happen, and people are people. But to come there with an open mind and look, there's good things that are happening. I think the city needs to bank on that and help that. If a business owner knew that the city was behind them and saying, look, we're going to work with you, whatever you need, whatever we can do to make it easier and accommodate, just listen to that and go for it, and let people live that dream. If that guy don't know anything about it and wants to open up a business, let he or she do that. And it shouldn't be a support this, a support that. Like, support it all.
Yeah. You're going to have a hard time getting, I'll just say it. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a hard time getting white conservative suburbanites back down into Jackson. And that is the majority of what surrounds Jackson. The picture has been painted that they're not welcomed, outside of places like Fondren and stuff. Yeah, when you have a mayor up there that's all defund the police and all this free the land stuff and this, that, and the other, you're telling conservative suburbanites, we don't want you, but we're going to blame all of our problems on the fact that you're not here, even though we don't want you.
Yeah, I think
there's a very bad problem with the mixed messaging.
It comes across as a negative. Yeah, it's either positive or negative.
Yep.
And when you're coming across saying you're going to take, if you're going to defund the police, well, Jackson's got not that many police now.
Yeah, I mean, you have defunded. Whether you've technically done it or not, look at, if you ever want to see what happens to a city when you defund the police, look at Jackson, Mississippi.
And my father-in-law was he's a retired JPD.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back and looking at it, and when he can tell you and others can tell you that have retired and stuff, like, it's not the same structure. It's not the same place, and they're tied.
Yeah, man, I hate it. Like I say, I love the city, and that's where my frustration comes from. I didn't just randomly pick Jackson, Mississippi to make fun of. No. Because it's low hanging fruit. I picked it because I'm pissed off about the conditions.
I think it's wholeheartedly. You can take it the wrong way. It's like, save Jackson. No, you're looking at it like this, and I think the people that really hate on it is, I don't think you dislike Jackson. I think you like it enough. You want to address the problems,
Yep.
and try to make a change in it.
Yeah, and look, and this thing has evolved. You talked about if you could go back, the name for the pet store and not selling pets and it being called the pet store.
Yeah.
When I came up with the name Save Jackson, there wasn't a whole lot of thought that went into it. It was, man, wouldn't it be nice to save all these empty buildings?
Yeah.
That was my thought process, and then everybody's like, well, you talk about all this. What are you doing to save Jackson? I'm like, well, I'm not robbing, I'm not stealing, I'm not killing, I'm not drug dealing, and I don't litter.
Yeah.
If everybody would just do that, Jackson, it's like a scar.
He's got to feel safe.
It would heal.
Yeah.
Jackson scars can't heal because they keep tearing up new ones.
I think this does not change.
Yeah.
It's and there's some in some places investment downtown. Downtown, there's not a lot downtown. That's why it's empty at 4:30 because it's offices and law firms. And when it's time to go home, they check out. There's no entertainment district. But when Craig Noon, when he started the Parlor Market.
Yeah, that was sad. He almost did that downstairs at my bar.
So when you got Craig Noon, he was an innovator and wanted to bring people downtown. He understands that food can bring people. Food takes away if you're sitting at a table. I've sat at a table with people of different color and races, and everybody's completely different. And when you're eating, you socialize, you get along. You have that, and you have that open discussion at a dinner table. Yeah. But we've also shied away because we used to not talk about religion or politics, and now that's the first two things you talk about because it's injected in everything.
But when we when we closed Crazy 8 out in Byram and we got the old catwalk building downtown, it was me and Chip Matthews, and then he went and opened up Fire.
Yeah.
We were the only people bringing white suburbanite, typical Mississippi guy and girl that didn't live in Jackson to downtown. They were not coming down there for anything else.
Yeah.
We were doing that, and they did all they could to run us out of business. It's like, well, we want business down here, but we don't want that business, or we want this business, we don't want that. I'm like, man, look, when you have nothing, you have to get people to come down here and feel safe. Let them come at night and let them see, okay, it ain't that bad. They were right. It really isn't that bad. But when you sit there and you tell them, or you try to close us or whatever the case may be, Jackson reminds me a lot of what went on in Detroit in the 90s and 2000s. It's a lot of revenge, reparations, politics type stuff going on. It's like, now it's our turn to make you suffer. I hate it, man.
But it's really who's suffering, though, when it comes down to it.
It's self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got great guys downtown, man. When I say downtown, I'm referring to the Capitol Street area.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I forget his last name off the top of my head. Sonny, the guys that just redid the Edison Walthall and the federal courthouse building, that whole crew, super good people. Yeah. You've got a lot of black entrepreneurs going in down there and getting these old buildings and putting high-end not nightclubs so much as like lounges. You may not, and also downtown Jackson's now resort status on where when we did it, they did resort status on one street and they didn't give it to the rest of us. Which that was clearly a stab in the back. Yeah. They gave it to Freelawns, but we were on the same street and we didn't get it.
Yeah.
But now all of Jackson's resort status, so you don't have to have a fair street.
No.
You can have a vibrant couple blocks.
There needs to be, and
you're getting that.
Yeah, and with downtown, what needs to happen is when businesses close or let's say offices close and they go home, then the nightlife should open up. There should be an entertainment like Jackson downtown. If you go to Memphis, if you go to Atlanta, if you go to New Orleans, anywhere in the U.S., there's two things. There needs to be an entertainment because that brings a tax base. That brings people spending money. They have to have a reason to go downtown. Make it restaurants, bars, shopping centers, stuff like that. Second thing is you got to have safety for them, for the business and the people, patrons. And, there's not that much of a presence because you don't feel like that,
That's the other thing, So when we were down there trying to kind of blaze the path of getting people to come down there for the first time in a decade, this had been 2002, 2003. It had been pretty vacant down there after hours for about a decade. So we were trying to do that, and what you always said was, well, if we had enough places for people to live down here, it would create this environment of people walking around. Well, now you have that, but you still don't have that environment of people walking around. Because now you don't have the businesses for people to walk around and go do. You have this.
Well,
you have like an occasional thing here, an occasional thing there.
So
You
you look at this, and this is kind of
you need some shopping. You need an anchor thing.
well, one you have
to pull people down there.
You have people living downtown, and at one time they were all occupied. They were all good. People living downtown. The whole point of living downtown, so you don't have to drive. You can walk to everywhere you need to go. Well, there's no grocery store.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
There's nothing to accommodate.
They were about to put one in the old Bell South, the building on the corner with the round on the corner of Lamar and Capitol. But during the ice storm, the pipes busted. That building is basically totaled out now. They were going to put a grocery store in there.
Yeah,
and that's not happening. But that was always the thing. That's that white elephant, right? It's like we got to have a grocery store, and there's also no gas stations.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's that one on South State. This has got the really good fried chicken right there at what's that?
It's not Lamar.
It's not Lamar. Silas Brown.
Yeah.
If you pull out and go right, you go over the bridge. No, that's not quite right. But that area, you know what I'm talking about. Down by Horse Sleigh.
I'll get water. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. So, but yeah, you need a safe, well lit gas station.
Yeah,
and
you need to accommodate for the people who live there.
Yeah, I mean, you need a liquor store. You need a grocery store, and I know you got that over at Fortification. Or you got to go all the way out to the suburbs otherwise.
I mean, I'm not walking that far.
No, that's the whole thing. It's like if I live downtown, I don't want to have to get in my car to go.
Exactly.
So when I lived at the Ironworks, dude, it was amazingly safe. I loved it. Can't say enough good things. But other than laying my head down and sleeping there, I had to drive everywhere to do everything.
Yeah.
Downtown, the point of living there would be to not have to drive as much, but you have to drive more because there's nothing down there.
Yes.
It's the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Well, it's because the real estate is majority office.
It's like
office space.
It's like living in the suburbs and working downtown, or should I say, it's like living downtown and working in the suburbs.
Yeah.
You still have to leave every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really weird how that's worked out. Now, I get it, man. There's challenges, but the city is not helping these challenges at all.
No, it's not. It's and when I don't know. I guess
I think you got.
Split it up. I think you need to in big cities, you have to have a lot of money to live downtown.
Yep.
When they started building low income housing for art, doing the art projects, stuff like that for low income artists, you're taking away your tax base.
Yeah.
Like if it's low income, it's not spending the amount of money. It's not putting the taxes in there. So you're taking away a tax base. And it's nice and it sounds good and it's a feel good thing, but when you're not putting in a tax base to support and to bring in income in, then
you're talking about those art lofts across the street from King Edward.
Yeah.
And I noticed something the other day. There's something else that they keep trying to reinvent Midtown and make that something that I just unfortunately don't believe it's ever gonna become. Not with the infrastructure and the condition it's in. But somebody went down there and started this new thing,
Eco Shed.
I stumbled across that on Instagram the other day. I'm like, look, man, I consider myself Mr. Jackson. Yeah. And as far as like knowing where everything is, every empty building, everything. Dude, I had never seen this property before.
Yeah. It's
because why would I?
Yeah, you have no reason to go down.
But I know a lot of little hole in the walls that there's no reason why I should know it there.
So I actually drive down there in my free time. I like to drive through those places.
Me too.
It's interesting. The streets are kind of bad.
Yeah.
Like, Mill Street's pretty rough on that end.
Yeah.
As far but it's the train tracks. It's kind of the industrial side. At one time there was a lot of juke joints on Mill Street or in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And kind of going good.
Well, man, it sucked when we lost Lucky Town.
Yeah.
You see I got the grand opening flyer over there on the wall.
Lucky Town. So they moved in. That was actually my friend's building. He used to be a blacksmith, and when they approached him, he was all for it because all he does is sling iron and make
it's a cool building,
everything else. But it was good. It's unfortunate what happened.
Yeah,
and there's another guy that's opening up a microbrewery in Bellhaven, so right across from Elvis.
Yeah, now they're building that from the ground up, right?
They are.
Man, I wish them the best, but this is one of my fears, and I talk about it all the time. Kind of the elephant in the room is, man, are you comfortable investing into a city that can't keep the water running? You know, and you have a business that is dependent. Just ask Chip and Lucas and them over at Lucky Town about what happens with when Jackson Water goes bad. You ruin entire inventory full of beer.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't get to write that. You don't get to file that on your insurance.
Yeah.
I would be very weary. Where's the upside, especially if you're going in and building from the ground up? Where's the upside to not just going across the river? I get that it's the whole neighborhood vibe kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Man, what is Jackson showing you that's giving you the confidence to go do this from a water perspective?
I don't think it is, but I think that's what Jackson needs. I think they need people that are innovative, that are up against the wall, that want it that much.
Yeah.
Because I could open up something over here and everything else, but I've always worked in Jackson and I love it.
We have an amazing brand that I think moves well. Or not it moves, expands well. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yeah. I have to be careful how I say that because I don't want people to think I'm trying to talk you into moving out of Jackson. No. But I think you have a brand with that logo and that name that franchises well, that moves well, whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah. I think I think they're going to find out the do's and don'ts and what ifs and how it goes. But that's kind of the excitement of starting a business. And that's kind of what makes you sick. You know, I wish Jackson would help out in any place, whether it's here or in another state or anything else. Water should be the one necessity that you shouldn't have to worry about. That should be a government thing, especially if you got to pay for it and they don't you don't get to pick where you send your water bill or who you pay. Yeah. You know, that's kind of like your trash. You don't say, well, I want BFI to pick it up or I want another one, Magnolia to pick it up. Well, you don't get a choice.
One of the big problems with Jackson, and I discuss this with people of all different political backgrounds, this is one thing we can agree on. You pay too much in taxes and you get the least ROI out of it.
Yeah, I pay 8%.
That's not debatable.
Yeah, ours is 8% specialty tax, which is supposed to go, I think, for roads and water, which there's some been done, but I mean, it's 100 plus years old.
Well, y'all also have that. Y'all had the 1% tax and you have the other tax over there in Fondren where that stays in Fondren and the property owners decide how it gets built. This is what paid for the sidewalks.
Correct.
We're fixing to do that along Highway 80.
Yes.
Is it called a TIF?
And see, that's another thing. That's a good thing about Fondren, and I think that's what's leading to the small towns is they're figuring out the communities can make a really big impact on their area if they give them that freedom and they give them that counsel to do that, to invest back into where they're at.
Yeah, I think Chip Matthews said it a while back, and how you make it happen, I don't know, but so Jackson needs to make its footprint smaller. You know,
it's spread out though. I mean,
and the problem is all the tax base is along the edges where you would theoretically shrink is your best tax bases. Mm-hmm. So it's like they went in and they annexed my parents' neighborhood, or Byram gave them my parents' neighborhood to keep from fighting them incorporating. Yeah. And now Byron's fixing to try to re-annex it. But those are good property owners. There's not a whole lot of renters over there along Forest. Contrary to what you may think about South Jackson, the Forest Hill Road corridor, Brookwood, all that, there's a lot of homeowners still. You know, a lot like Presidential Hills. Yeah. You know, it's an older neighborhood, a lot of homeowners still.
Yeah.
You know, like Presidential Hills can swing a city election if they decide to.
Yeah.
Just like Crossgates here can swing the Brandon.
This last voting was, I think, low percentage-wise. And that's the one I'm saying. People won't change, but they don't want to change the people that make change.
No, people have gotten too caught up in the emotion of it versus the realities. You know, is this guy qualified? Whoever it is, whatever position it is. I say, if you take a 4-year resume and you can't show me anywhere on that resume something, some kind of positive, like something to anchor down on, like the foundation, like what are you building on? Like what is your thing? Like, you know, I can overlook this, that, and the other, but what is the thing that you say, man, this is our foundation. This is what we're building the rest around. Yeah. We're doing better here. Because I don't see that anywhere.
No, I mean, I think it's kind of like when you were asked, or what you asked, what do you want to be in 5 years? You know, if you ask them, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to see this?
Yeah.
What would you change if you could change one thing in it now? And kind of that, I think their answer to that will let you know which direction they're wanting to go.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know, man. It seems right now we've gotten too caught up in the social justice stuff, and everybody's more involved in that and blaming everybody. We've got to decide, where do you see Jackson in 5 years?
Yeah,
I would love to be back living in Jackson. I don't want to stay living in Brandon. I mean, I love it out here. It's nice, and maybe I die here. But you know, I would like to be able to go back to the city. I have tattooed on my arm.
I mean, all my friends,
And feel like I'm not giving up anything to do it.
Yeah, I have a ton of friends that live in Jackson, and they like it. And they always, I have customers ask me where you live. Live in Rankin County, live in Pearl, and it's when me and my wife, because my wife's from South Jackson, lived off of Woody Drive.
Yeah, my wife did too.
My wife was hardcore. I'm not moving to Rankin County, and I was like, I'm not opposed to moving out of Rankin County. I would love to move to Jackson because I have friends, Trey and Shane. That ones, if I had to live anywhere, probably be a loft downtown. That's just kind of how we like things.
Yep.
And the blues bars that used to be there, and it's it's just funny because my main reason of not moving to Jackson or living in Jackson is because I don't want a headache of having to deal with the water.
Yeah, I mean, then
with the boil water or the electricity or anything like that, it's a cluster. And when it's a headache, that's like some stress I don't want in my life.
It's undue stress. It's like stress that can be completely avoidable.
Yeah,
if there's an option, you exercise the other option.
Yes,
that's what it did it for me. I mean, I could overcome it, but I was having to drive during that stretch in February, post ice storm, and during the ice storm, the cold snap, whatever. I was having to drive to my sister's house in Richland, take a shower.
Yeah.
Go work 12 hours, rinse, repeat. Some days you didn't take a bath. You just, call it an old hoe bath. Yeah. Get the wet rag. And, and you couldn't even do that without running water. You had to do cold bottle water, warm it up on the stove. It was just terrible.
Well, that's, some of the things I've seen, like at my store, we don't use a lot of water. We use the bathroom. That's about it. Flush the toilet. And
we had a pool, so we were able to get 5-gallon buckets and refill the toilet. So we were able to flush. But that was still a pain in the butt.
But like the salon next to me, mid stride had a client and getting her hair shampooed, and all of a sudden no water. Like that's something you shouldn't have to worry about.
Our friend has started another fake profile.
Oh man.
This guy,
really?
Let's pull him up here. This guy will not go away. This is old Tasty Bankston here. You can't see it there, but this guy. Talk about a psychopath. Anyway, I love it when he calls me white trash. You left out insurrectionist.
I'm just. Well, so he's listening right now.
Oh yeah, he has to go start. I've got him blocked on everything, so he has to go create new.
I got you.
New profiles to stalk and entertain.
Yeah. But
he, no matter what he calls himself, he says the same thing, rinse, repeat.
Yeah. I just don't, like I said, it's good he has his own opinion. It's good he has the right to have that opinion. It's bad to state it without even knowing, because that's ignorance on his part.
Yep.
Because from him saying things like that and not knowing, that's assuming, and assumption we all know is the mother. It's one of those things you should never assume somebody or try to predict, especially when you never met them or when you don't know them. Like if he really wanted to change, I think, and if he really wanted to make an impact, come on the show.
Yeah. Come on the show.
To talk about what's on your mind as far as if it's making you mad. If it's making you mad, then it's obviously affecting him.
Somebody set this guy down in a chair, taped his eyes open, and made him watch CNN for too long.
Yeah, probably. But and that's how news organizations are now. Yeah. It really depends on what you want to hear, what you want to hear.
What were those brainwashing things called back in the 60s? What were those?
I'd just rather do acid, I think.
They were forcing acid on people, and they were like the government was brainwashed. CIA was doing those things.
Yeah.
The Unabomber dude ended up being somebody they did it on, Ted Kaczynski or whatever. This dude is the whatever he is version of that.
I've just never seen somebody that out of all the years, I'm 41. I've never had that happen or somebody do that. And when I say do that, I mean just blatantly throw something out there that's totally false.
He used words like,
and it's all accountability. He don't know me.
White fragility and all these other things.
It's just weird. And that's that's about as racist as what he's wanting to call.
Oh yeah.
So that's that whole I'm racist, but you're the one
being a racist.
Yes. On that. That's
Yeah. Yeah, I get
I could say the most whitest thing. Like I have black friends, and but I've always had a ton of black friends, and and it's funny, it's because, and even if they're totally in tune with the gay population. I have gay friends and we talk about it, and they're total Democrat and I'm total Republic, but we also have a good civil conversation about things. And it's because we're both open-minded. If they want things and they want to be open-minded, then they should be open-minded themselves.
Yeah. So he says, you're a white nationalist, racist, January 6th insurrectionist supporter, homophobic, transphobic bigot. You got one of these right.
That's me?
Me.
Okay. Good.
Well, you got one of these right. I am a January 6th insurrectionist supporter.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with everything that went down there, to the point that, unfortunately, I wish they had finished the job.
See, I'm one of those. I thought it was the wrong way of going about it. And when I say the wrong way,
what was the right way? Because they burned half of the Democrat cities in America down all summer with no consequence.
And see, that's what I'm saying. That's the total wrong way as well.
When you're pushed and pushed and pushed, and you're told like you're next.
Yeah.
Well, let's remind y'all that we sent y'all here to Washington.
Yeah.
I don't get into the conspiracy theories that it was a conspiracy theory of what happened. I think a bunch of pissed off people went to Washington D.C. to prove a point. And it escalated, kind of like that episode of South Park where they decided to reenact the Civil War and they're drinking s'mores and they just keep going and going and going.
Yeah. I think if a lot of people could back up and then change their approach to it as far as when it escalated, then I think, I don't think everybody showed up there to do what happened.
Well, I do think it's quite interesting that there's tons of video of them opening the doors, inviting people in, showing them around, and then you're arresting those very people for attempting to overthrow the government.
Yeah. And like the guy that jumped on that jumped on Pelosi's office and everything, like, well, what are you really going to get out of that?
Oh, you got a good picture of on the desk.
But other than that, you're going to get arrested. You're going to get harassed for the rest of your life, and you're known as that guy.
Yeah.
So as a person, for me, I absorbed that as well. Like, you're that guy.
I've been accused of being there. I'm like, dude, I was literally sitting in my desk at the dealership, watching it happen on Facebook or on the computer.
He obviously accused me and my business of it. I'm going, I had to think because my birthday's around that time. I was going, did he look at my birthday? Like he got that wrong. But then, it come to me. I was like, oh, he's talking about that. Okay.
Now, look, man, we decided, this guy's been popping off at the mouth for a couple of years now. Long before there was a Save Jackson, this guy was calling and harassing my employers and this, that, and the other. And then when,
and see, that's when it's going too far.
Well, just
trying to make your life just a living hell for nothing. Like for him disagreeing.
Man, look, he has tried all he can. I still have a job in Jackson.
Yeah. If he put his effort into his picture taking on Facebook, that was wild. That was really wild. I mean, kudos for him. He's throwing it literally out there.
Yeah.
But
he popping on a handstand.
Yeah. And just remember that's, I think he's going to be remembered for that too. Like, you can't take him. I take him with a grain of salt. Like this simple fact you can't take anybody with respect that does that.
No, look, it's funny. He does that stuff and people are like, man, this crazy guy that has naked pictures of himself is harassing us because we're affiliated with you. Like he got the wrong one. Anybody that lets somebody like that scare them into not being affiliated with me is somebody I don't want to be affiliated with.
Yeah, that's
why I pick and choose, my sponsors carefully. And
and if somebody wants to sponsor something, that's cool. Let them have that.
They're not sponsoring me. They're sponsoring the fact that I have a large audience for the most part. Yeah. And they're like
it's marketing.
Yeah. It's marketing. It's like there's companies that advertise on Fox and CNN.
Yeah. It's marketing. It is marketing.
There's people that donated to Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Yeah.
I'm going to need everybody to buy dog food and get a haircut.
I mean, half these people advertise on urban radio too. Yeah. It's just like who's got a following? I'm one of the, because Mississippi is slow behind, I'm one of the only quote unquote influencers on the conservative side in Mississippi because everybody's scared of guys like this. They're scared to talk online. Yeah, I'm not.
I think it should, you shouldn't be scared. And I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people that are conservative are scared to speak up.
Yep.
And, I think what they're scared of is the negative, who they're going to speak up or what's going to happen out of it, which you shouldn't be. You should stand for what you believe in, whether somebody thinks it's right or wrong. And, as long as you're good where you're at with it and why you're speaking on it, stick up for it.
Yeah, look, I've often said since this guy got on this personal vendetta against me that I've never met, He couldn't find a screenshot of a private message I've ever sent him.
I've never met him. Never
or
seen
anything.
him. Yeah.
If he ever did mess around or somebody like him got me fired from my job, if they hate the things I'm saying now, if there's no if there's no things in place to keep me from really cranking it up, that they're really not going to like what they get on the other side of it.
Yeah. It's just pure ignorance. It's like that, from what he said and what he posted on mine, it's, and I'll leave it up. People can look at it as a review, let them do it.
Yeah.
If he would have kind of probably did a little bit of research, it's new. I'm pretty sure you can find it. Like I went to a predominantly black barber school.
Yeah.
It was me and one other white guy at one time. At one time, it was just me.
This clown don't even live in Jackson.
So it's like, I'll let those people go. Let him have his thing.
He loves Jackson so much. Meanwhile, he lives in the safe confines of Clinton.
Clinton.
So
Clinton's a whole nother area.
Yeah, Clinton is unique.
Yeah, Clinton's a whole nother area. It's I really don't know what to think about Clinton, but that's just me.
I wish I could pull this up on the screen. I wish I had it cast up there. But it's like, if you support this platform, you're a part of this platform. You support Clay, racism, homophobia, jumped on the transphobia, bigotry, all of Fondren will know it.
So I can get an answer to that. So what he said is, if I get on the platform, I support him. Yeah. So he could have looked at it also from a different perspective.
He's on the platform. Does he support me?
Yeah,
he's here on it right now.
Yeah.
You know what I don't do, Josh? I don't watch things I don't like. No. Like if there's something on TV that I don't like, just change the channel.
That's it.
I do not go.
It's that easy.
I don't. There's plenty of Democrat versions of what I do in Jackson. I don't follow any of them. I don't care what they have to say.
No,
it's not because I don't want another viewpoint. I know their viewpoint. Mm-hmm. I don't need to hear it anymore. They beat it into the ground. They make sure you know it.
Yeah,
and I've decided that I'm not interested in that.
It's
so I don't follow them. If I don't watch their lives because I don't follow them.
And see, I don't know. I'd get on any platform. I think I would, whether it be a negative or positive or anything else, because I may say something that you may not agree with, and I think we probably have.
I'll go talk to some people with other platforms, but they don't want to watch it.
It's just the open-mindedness of it is thinking you could learn something from it. You should always be willing to learn, and you should always be willing to teach.
Yeah.
That's, there's no negative out of that. It's not edited. He can come on here.
It's funny because I go back to thinking, I'm just telling y'all, water's wet and the sky is blue.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't make up things to say about Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the facts.
Yeah.
I don't make up things to say about what's going on in Democrat cities around America. You can ride through one and you're in a Democrat city. Like, I'm in a Democrat city. Lock the doors.
Yeah.
There's that country song, Going Through Hell. I've reworded it. If you're going through Jackson, just keep going. Yeah. Don't slow down.
So I have a friend that he lives in Chicago now. Moved up there the first of the year.
Pick your poison.
I went up there, and Chicago's not for me. It's a beautiful city.
The mayor looks like Beetlejuice.
Yes, the architecture is, and it's funny because he's super super liberal. He's feeling the burn, which that's how my friends are. I love that because they're so different, but we have good conversation. And anyway, I went up there to see him, and city's beautiful. Architecture's great, phenomenal. And I know some people are just pissed off because dead square in the middle of it's Trump Towers. That just kind of sticks out.
Like salt,
but
salt.
And this is the one thing, and this is what I'll hit on it, and it's an honest question. Because some of the stuff happened up there with all that and tearing things up and raising money, and I just asked. I said, what programs have been set in that's positive that you know of? And it's kind of those crickets for a second, and if you donated and they made about, BLM made close to 90 million. So, if you rake in that kind of stuff,
and haven't given anything back.
That kind of money, you would think you would hear of some kind of change program or program that's been implemented from that to even booster it. Even if you look at it, this is a business standpoint, that's hell of a marketing to come in and say, look, we put this program in, we got $90 million. I dropped $10 million on this. Now we got kids that are learning trades, learning to cook, running restaurants, after hours schooling, supervision, just anything. And there's nothing.
No.
And that's the only thing I'm seeing now. Everybody wants to either cut money from things that are working or dump money into things that are just leaking like a sieve.
Well, Chicago is now blaming their violence on Mississippi's gun laws.
Yeah, and see,
it's like, what?
And that's the first thing you said, blaming. So they're not taking somebody.
Yeah.
So if it's somebody that's going in, you're killing somebody, or let's say matter of fact, let's just say a current event, the building falling in Miami, sad thing, super sad thing. I hear they had a permitting thing. They're supposed to go in and look and check out the structural. So, I mean, are you blaming for the people that have died for the guy that was holding the hammer that didn't nail it correctly? Was it the hammer's fault? It's that kind of analogy. It's not the gun is an accessory, and the gun is one way to do it, but it's the person. If you do a gun law and you have something that's going to regulate the person that's committing the crime, if I'm going to go shoot somebody, I don't care about going with a felony of a gun.
No.
The high crime is the murder charge.
Yeah.
So you're committing a crime within a crime, but he's not looking at going, God, that's going to be on my rap sheet, like having a gun. I got it illegally.
I'm as pro to as you will get, and blindingly so in some areas. One thing I will say is that there is a serious problem with the wrong people getting guns.
Yeah.
And they may not be felons, and it's their right to own a gun, but they are absolutely terrible human beings who have, and they're only not felons because they haven't gotten caught.
Yeah.
Just like me. I'm only a felon because I didn't get caught doing dumb stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I openly admitted that.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say, I didn't ever point my gun at anybody and shoot them. And I damn sure never pointed my gun at it and shot it.
Just immaculate. Yeah.
And they're killing 2 and 3 people, innocent people, and missing the person they're trying to shoot. And 9 times out of 10, one of those 2 or 3 innocent are a child under 10 years old.
Yeah. But how, I grew up seeing a mother. My dad was still in the picture. My dad's always in the picture. He's that kind of guy. But you also grew up learning the structure and the rules of a gun, like the do's and don'ts. You don't point it at anything you don't know of.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn that as a kid. Now I think you got people that are getting in it, and as kids, you can ask them, "How long have you owned a gun? When's the first time you shot a gun? What age?" I grew up hunting at a young age, and so you kind of did that. That was the steps. You got your BB gun, you got a pocket knife, then you got a BB gun, and then you may have got a 30-30 or a shotgun first. And
we had a 12 gauge.
Yeah. My dad bought
a lot of kick.
a 16 gauge is what I had. But you learned it the right way. You learned to respect the guns and how they're used.
I'll show you some of my insurrectionist artillery before you leave.
It's and now guns aren't a bad thing. Guns help out a lot. And when I say help out a lot, it's for your safety. And that's it. It's, if people do it as rec and hunting. I don't hunt. I used to. I fish. But I mean,
I can assure you, if some January 6th insurrectionist supporter ever got a hold of our buddy here, he would be on the phone calling the police as quick as he possibly could.
Yeah.
Begging for them and their gun to come save him.
Yeah. And you're going to bash and take money from the person that's there to do their job.
Yeah.
They want to help, and it's a shame. It honestly is.
It's brain damage, man. I mean, we're obviously talking about somebody with mental illness here, so I kind of feel bad about it. But at some point, you just keep throwing yourself in the fire, you get burned.
Yeah,
it's why I moved out of Jackson. I said, okay, I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome.
Exactly.
That's insanity.
Yes.
So I'm going to remove.
That's the same thing as voting somebody else in.
Yeah. And, my wife had a big part in, finally saying we got to go. Yeah. But I'm glad that I will say this: my wife was right. Yeah. It was time to go. Yeah. I couldn't hold on anymore.
Yeah. If you don't feel safe, move.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to live anywhere, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere my wife wanted to live, or if she's scared.
And it wasn't just not feeling safe, because where we lived was okay.
Yeah.
What my biggest fear is, as a pro 2A guy, conservative, white dude in Jackson, if I ever had to defend myself against a Jacksonian and had to kill somebody, had to shoot somebody, whatever the case may be, how was I going to be treated in the Hinds County justice system?
Oh yeah.
Was I going to be made an example of, or was I going to get a fair trial? I tend to believe that I would have been made an example out of, and it would have had to go. It would have made even more trouble than it was worth.
Yeah.
And that was the real determining. Everything else was just little things along the way.
Yeah.
But that mental mindset of, if I ever really have to defend myself, how am I? Am I going to be the victim or the bad guy?
That's an honest question as well.
You know,
And so and then that comes back to you. Do you want to put yourself in that position? Are you more likely to get in that position in different demographics or areas of the city?
Yes.
100%.
You know, I was like, I will not stop at a Jackson gas station.
Yeah. I mean,
because I'm just not going to put myself. That seems to be a hotbed for that type of stuff happening.
Yes.
And I'm not going to sit there and wait till the last second to wonder if you're going to shoot me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like,
well, even the sad part now is, as people have changed as a whole, and I say people, I mean everybody. Like nowadays, if let's say you were at that gas station and you did get shot, you're more than likely to have somebody pull out their camera and film you than they are help you.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's what has went way down in society.
I have got a phone full of videos that people send me of people fighting in Jackson and doing all this other stuff. So like, I'm not saying it's everybody's deed to break up people fighting, because sometimes you don't want to get up in the middle. But if you're that scared that you feel safe filming it, that you can't stop it.
Yeah.
Car wrecks, people all the time. The first thing people do are pulling out their phones.
Yeah. Well, I was in school when I was in barber school at night. We're all sitting around, not too busy. And the guy that got shot at the nightclub, in the middle of the nightclub, there was like a live video, and then there was just people filming coming up, and we're sitting there watching. I'm going, it's scattered. Guys laying on the ground in the middle of the nightclub. And then people are walking by with their cameras filming. Not one person rolled this guy over, look to see what happened. See if they can even stop the bleeding. Yeah. He may have just got shot in the arm or the leg.
Yeah.
And instead of being a highlight reel, be a good person, a human being, and try to save somebody's life. I think Lil Wayne said it best on one of his interviews when he got shot. He said he had 3 black cops step over him and the one white cop helped him out. So how can he be a racist?
Was it Cat Williams? There weren't angels singing or nothing.
Yeah. It's just a lot in how you perceive things and how you experience things.
Yeah, man, people are crazy.
And it comes back to just being
society's shot. I mean, I ask people all the time. I'm like, well, people are like, oh, Jackson's going to turn around, and I'm just using Jackson as an example, as a catch-all here for cities like Jackson. I'm like, they're like, oh, it's going to turn around. It's just got to hit bottom first. I'm like, what is bottom?
I think it's hit bottom. I think Jackson hit bottom.
Like, yeah, me too. I'm like, we're there. I mean, it can get worse. It can be a worse version of bottom, but for all intents and purposes, it's as bad as outside of some museums. I can't think. I mean, outside of just nothing. It's rock bottom. Yeah. As bad as a major city can get.
It's bottom. It's
as bad as a capital city.
I can say it's bottom, but I believe in it enough that I want to spend my money there. I want my business there. Yeah. Because I have a hope, if you want to say, that it does turn back around. And in some places it is turning back around.
Well, I mean, you're in an area that's sustained by the medical community over there.
But Fondren used to it had its rough patches.
Oh, I know.
Where it was nothing.
And but the medical hospitals and all, it really helped Fondren kind of get through that. Yeah. And
you can't say it's safe because they shot up in the parking garage.
And the foresight of business owners and stuff to say, we're going to invest into this and make sure.
Yes.
Guys like Jeff Good and Cheney and others, and Cheney catches an undue amount of hell for no reason, just because.
Yeah, he does.
That's a Cheney painting behind you. That's the first piece he ever sold.
Really?
Yep.
Hey, that's nice. He's getting back into it.
I bought that at Ink. They had an art show at Ink Spot when it was on Capitol Street when they opened up, and I bought it there from Cheney.
Really?
I paid $500 for that thing.
Oh, damn.
Tried to sell it back to him that day. I was like, you want it back? He's like, no, I think they belong wherever they ended up.
He's got a little bit of William Goodman in there.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. He explained that style of art to me the last time I talked to him, and because we never had a conversation about it. I just liked it, and it has a cool message at the bottom. It says like a lucky sinner that got kicked out of hell.
Yeah,
that's not a redemptive. Resurrect.
Yeah, Cheney's had his God. He's went through the ringers a couple of times on some shirts and everything else.
Well, that and bitter ex-employees.
Yeah, and he keeps grinding. you got to respect the man for that.
Oh yeah.
He keeps grinding, and I think that's you have to. You have to just where you're at. You got to keep grinding. If you take your eye off the ball, you're gonna lose it, or somebody's gonna take it. Oh, yeah. When I first opened there, I was the only pet store in that area. In the past 5 years, or I guess 3 years, really, it's been 4 more.
I know they opened up the that PetSmart or whatever it is, Petco over there at Maywood Mart.
They have Hollywood. Hollywood's there.
Where's Hollywood at?
Highland Village.
Okay.
And
those are going to do what they're going to do, because when you're in,
you can't worry about other businesses, small business. You got
to be doing right. Right. Have that personal relationship.
Yeah.
Be a January 6th insurrectionist supporter.
and all my years, I waited 41 years on that now.
Most of these fools couldn't spell insurrection properly, or actually tell you what. Never mind the fact that this country was founded.
Yeah.
Like, we all got here because of this,
it's all, it's a slow progression and it's change.
History is racist. So, you can't talk about anything old. Yeah. I got a big gig, and this is Clay speaking for Clay. Josh does not have nothing to do with what I'm about to say. I get a big kick out of the fact that we spent all last summer tearing down statues of people, and then got mad when somebody vandalized the statue of George Floyd they put up the other day. Don't set the example you don't want followed.
It's kind of the irony, huh?
Very ironic. It was like on the day of Chauvin's sentencing, nonetheless.
Yeah, lead by example.
Yeah. Well,
all kind of keywords in there.
But your statues is racisms.
Yeah.
Like, says who? Yes, there was racist people that found they were a part of this country. There was a lot of bad things that went on in this country.
I think he's made in that. But if you looked at the history of the man, who was he?
No, he's a bad person. We're talking about George Floyd, right? Yeah, bad person. I saw the meme where somebody created the statue of the pregnant girl with him holding a gun to her belly. That's probably more.
That's not good.
Yeah,
that's a person,
and that's the problem with the whole movement on their end, is that they keep taking these bad people and making them martyrs. Yeah. I'm not saying that anybody deserved to die. I want to make sure I'm clear there. But
no, the event was super bad, and I think the event was handled.
Yeah.
The guy's in jail.
That's the other side of, like,
what else do you want?
What else do you want? Yeah. I had somebody call me out the other day and said, are you going to talk about all these white politicians in Mississippi that are tied up in drama? I'm like, well, they all seem to get caught.
Yeah,
and
they do get caught, and there's some horrible white people.
It's like when they get caught and like Shad White gets them. I don't know what else am I supposed to say. What I'm bitching and mad about is the people who keep getting away with blatant in your face corruption.
Yeah.
And nobody's doing anything about it. Yeah. I don't damn your color.
No.
I don't understand why that has to be a part of the conversation.
I don't. Just to get about it. He's a white guy. Did this, or he's a black guy, or Asian. Or Latin American. When
I started calling out these black churches in Jackson that own all these abandoned properties that are just letting them rot to hell, and they're full of vagrants and prostitutes and drugs and all this, that, and the other, people are like, you can't be talking about black churches. I'm like, I'm not talking about black churches. I'm talking about churches that own these properties. They just so happen to be black churches.
Yeah.
But that part is irrelevant to me. It's a nonprofit that owns a business that doesn't pay any taxes. That's
your tax base.
That is rotted to hell, and some of these are so big. Some of these abandoned hotels, the old YMCA in South Jackson,
Holiday Inn. They ripped that down.
That was the old Best Western.
Okay,
down. The Holiday Inn is still up. The old Southwest Holiday Inn.
So the other one where we used
where I got the drone footage and stuff, and
we used to have dog
with FA
at our place right there on 80, the Enterprise Center by the old Coca-Cola plant.
Yeah, and then of course they talk about there's some investor that's bought that. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, the one was out of New York, and then he got burned down. Or,
there's a new ones that have bought it out of Florida or something.
That's the thing. All that would be good, but it's all 16th section land.
Yeah,
you don't own the land. So as from a business standpoint, it's like I don't know if I'd want to do that.
Yeah,
it's one thing to buy the property. It's another thing if it's on 16th section land, because then they can just raise the lease on you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want no part of that. But hey, look, T-Star, I rode by it. Like I was saying, I came up 80 last night coming home from work yesterday afternoon, and I've noticed that it's more tore up than it has been. I mean, they've got to where they've stripped and ripped everything out of it.
Yeah.
They're still in the bricks on the outside of the building now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and here's the thing. I guess there's a part of me that says, well, if you just let the crackheads and recycle thieves demo it for you,
it's free.
It's free. It goes away. But then it just sets a terrible example that it's all systems go and nobody cares.
Yeah.
But with everything going on in Jackson, do I want cops wasting their time keeping crackheads from demoing a demoed building?
No.
My head wants to explode, but I shouldn't be in the situation I had to even have this conversation.
Yeah. I think you should have a time limit. If you buy a property that needs to be demoed, if you're not going to revitalize it, then you have an XP date on it that it needs to be torn down. Even if it's just torn down to open pasture field. You know?
I mean, look, I get that it's expensive, but the city can recoup that money.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, what
it's like Metro Center. What really, because Metro Center's a big building.
They tried to give that thing to any. I mean, my understanding is they tried that the lady that got it didn't buy it. It was a 501c3.
Just the inside.
The big wings of it. The anchors are owned by different companies.
Yeah.
But they've been trying to. Those companies will gladly, from my understanding, donate that as a tax write-off, so they don't have to pay the taxes on it.
Yeah.
The taxes on the inside part are like $76,000 or $67,000. My buddy Michael Applewhite is in here now, and he looked it up for me. They have the income tax. Sorry, I was reading something. The income tax is like state property tax.
Yeah,
$67,000 or $76,000 a year.
It's a lot of money.
You know, well, if you give that building away at whatever the appraised value is, you get that write-off.
Yeah.
Then you don't have that money that you're having to pay. And let's just be honest, nothing is going in there from a retail perspective.
No.
Money likes to feel safe. It ain't going where it don't feel safe.
Yeah.
The money ain't going to the Metro Center. I mean, now you could put forced attendance type things over there. Hines, like what they did with the medical mall is genius.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no reason that mall should be flourishing, but somehow the Metro is the one that's sitting there.
That's your, if you want to go with the democratic, the social standpoint, that's a co-op.
Yeah.
You can always do a co-op. You can always do rent space.
Yeah.
You know, you can do storage space.
They're talking about building some luxury apartments over there in the parking lot and this, that, and the other. I'm like, am I the only one that's looking at this thinking, you're doing what?
Yeah.
I mean, it's buggy in front of the horse.
Yeah.
It's so much of it. You know, the road around it is basically gravel now.
Yeah.
Part of it is.
That's insane.
And they're talking about building luxury house. I mean, they've even busted up in the concrete and stuff and got the fence around it with the privacy fencing. And I'm like, what about in the empty space inside?
Yeah.
What about that?
Yeah. That's all. And
it needs to be turned into an Amazon distribution center or something like that. It's some kind of commercial industrial. It's right by the interstates. So that would be the best use for that.
Yes. Well, the lady off Gallatin Street that worked for Amazon sold her product. Now she consults for them. Is doing the tech on Gallatin.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing.
Off of Hooker Street.
Yeah, but now they got to call it the Black Tech Hub. Can it just be the Tech Hub in Jackson, the downtown Tech Hub? It's being marketed the Black Tech Hub. If it's in Jackson, I get it.
Yeah.
It's probably geared towards African Americans, and that is fine and dandy and great. I don't care. But do we always have to put the race thing in front?
I don't think it's needed.
No,
I don't think
it's alienating people from the get go.
I don't think it's needed on any kind of. I don't think it's needed on a job application. I don't think it's needed. Like, why do you need to know what color I am if I'm applying for a job? Is it because you got to meet a quota, or you just feel bad? Like, you shouldn't have gender or race on there. I think gender gender, you might, if somebody goes into it and says, I didn't know you were a girl, well, that's kind of messed up. But then she also, if she was looking at it and she's got to pick up 150 pound
I was like, what are the physical
bags?
What are the physical requirements?
Then
can you pass physical?
That. Yeah. But that was like them protesting or doing something in Alabama with the Amazon about them paying. I was like, I don't understand that, because the employees that are going there were protesting about pay. They went into that knowing what they were going to get paid. They're not just to say, yeah, I'll take it. And then all of a sudden, I didn't know I was going to make $9 an hour.
Yeah.
Like, you're protesting on something and you knew you were going to get paid that. Like, what?
Well, they could have had an AOC represent their district and run Amazon off altogether from building.
Yeah. I welcome it. I wish Jackson would welcome it and bring incentives for business to come. I think it started going downhill when you had businesses leaving out of Jackson.
Yeah.
Not going into another state, but literally going 30 miles north.
I mean,
or something like that.
There's
something was going on.
Look, clearly I'm not in the meetings at the mayor's office, so I don't know all the inner workings. But you would have to think that Jackson is not offering incentives to businesses. They're not offering tax breaks. It's like, what can you do for us now?
Yeah.
Versus the long-term play.
Yeah.
Well, doing this now is what's got us in the worst situation versus the long-term play. Got to start fixing it at some point.
Yeah.
So if you're going to tell me that it's been being ignored for 50 years, then you're telling me that this job thing's the same way. You're ignoring the long-term play because you're not getting the benefits up front that you want for this. It's so crooked, man. Anybody, if you have financially benefited being in political office in Jackson, Mississippi, or anywhere in the country, if you're worth hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars more now than you were,
that's insider trading.
Yes, I mean,
You're writing the rules, and you're playing.
You're deciding who opens up where, and what permits, and what rezoning, and I mean,
I don't think it's open. It's corruption's in all form of government too. It's just there. It seems like it's gotten a rut, and it was doing some good things. And Jackson, I thought Jackson was going to pull ahead on some things. The directions they were going, and then it's like it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, and it's all because of infrastructure.
Let me read you this message from our companion. It says, Clay has already been reported and will be investigated by Shad White and the Mississippi Tax Commission for embezzlement, stealing, and tax fraud from his job. Don't leave that part out. Well, first, Shad White doesn't invest private. He's a state auditor. Yeah. And he'll be on my show next week.
Well, he's good. He's done a great job. He's caught a lot of stuff.
So Tasty, be sure to tune in to the Clay Edwards Show. Shad will be a guest one day next week. Embezzlement, stealing, and tax fraud from my job. Man, I'm glad he puts this stuff out there, though.
Yeah.
Because these are the things I can go press charges. Because there's a difference in making a vague statement, but when you make direct accusations that are false,
that are false claims,
then it's I don't even use the term. What is it? When you talk bad about somebody, and they can sue you for it. Tay Hall said I'll talk about suing people. I don't even know what the terms are. Slander. A slander. So if anybody knows a lawyer, or if anybody's keeping up with this, please screenshot that for me. I'm just having fun with this. It's comical.
Like I said, that guy's just weird. For the simple fact is, have you never talked to this guy?
Never.
It's weird.
Never, man.
It's like
he's called my phone and cussed me out a couple times. I could play the.
And I've had that excuse one time when I was with the girlfriend.
I could play the voice.
She knew me. It's like, that's kind of psychotic. That's weird.
I could play the voice memo here where he called my work and got he got one of the other guys that worked there's cell phone.
Yeah. How does that happen?
He's such an idiot, man. Hang on, this is great. I can plug this phone up to here. All right. I'm going to play y'all. This is the stalker in the comments here. I didn't really plan on it coming to this. This was, I think this is before Save Jackson even existed. He called my employer and left this on the voicemail because he's an idiot and he got an employee's cell phone. Not mine.
I don't see how y'all can have that racist.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Oh, man.
This is my new toy here, so I'm having to learn how to use it here.
That is so wild.
I don't see how y'all can have that racist bigot up there, Clay Edwards, working up there. That is not a good look for your company, especially to be a black-owned company, to have that white piece of white trailer trash, South Jackson's trash.
That's
racist working up there.
I mean, that's a racist statement. That's racist.
And the company I work for is not black-owned either, by the way. I mean, not that matters, but
I mean, that's uninformed. The one thing you don't want, he's promoting. I don't know. I don't get it. I think racist has thrown around too loosely now, so it's lost its grip on things. which is sad
Yeah,
because normal, it's
they beat
for
a
somebody-
dead horse
yeah, they-
so much that
it's not
nobody
even-
cares anymore.
yeah,
It's a shame because there is real racism and stuff going
Yes.
out there. But now, when disagreeing with a Democrat is somehow racist because they're so morally righteous,
yeah,
that if you disagree on them on anything, you're obviously on the wrong side.
Yeah.
I
it's just how it goes. Some people live like that and some people think like that. But I mean, Tasty, if you can hear me, back up, take a breath, and think about what you're saying. You don't want us to be racist, but yet you're kind of doing the same thing. Actually, you're doing worse because you're not meeting a person. You're just assuming something. So Tasty, if you ever want to talk about it, come. You got my number at the store. You called it.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. I'm open-minded fella. And I'm known got gay friends if that's what you're into, or and you've got black friends, white friends, whatever. If you want to talk about drag bingo or something, let me know. Which is a fun thing. If you ever get a chance to go to drag bingo, go. We went at Howlin' Mouse, and that was one of the best times ever. Yeah, it was great.
What's funny is all the homophobic talks of. I've spent so many late nights in gay bars, and was even a silent partner.
We have
in a gay bar. We
have a good time.
Gay money's green too.
And if you don't know business, money's money.
Yeah, I never.
You don't look at
it. Never cared. I don't agree with a lot of this. Force feeding these beliefs on everybody. But by all means, man, do what you do in your house. Yeah. There's things I do that I don't think should be forced upon everybody.
Yeah,
it's just what I do.
Yeah.
I just. I find it
but that's individuality. Like everybody, be their person. Don't slander somebody. Don't throw somebody under the bus just because you disagree with them. That's not the right approach. That's not the right message.
No. But man, look, what is it? Beer is cold and people are crazy.
Yeah.
Or beer is good. God is good. The country song. God is great.
I don't listen to country.
Beer is good. People are crazy.
I'm Rankin County. I don't listen to country. Don't drink on Sundays, Lord's Day. I'm just playing. I drink on Sundays. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's everybody's different. Everybody's got opinions. Just be smart about what you say, man, because you wouldn't want somebody calling you that or slandering you that. So, and try to do unto others as you want it done to you. Something like that. I think that's how that goes. Maybe.
You would think, man. Some people are so righteous and indignant that there's no rationalizing with people. I would. What's funny is there was a time where I would have invited that guy on the show, but he's such a loose cannon that I can't have that kind of language on the show. And frankly, I homosexuality does not bother me. That's between you, your lover, and God, and your family, and everything else. But where I can say you're going to hell is because you're a prostitute.
That's weird.
And you talk about reporting on taxes and stuff. I'm sure you don't pay taxes on that earned income from
cash
being a
only, baby.
Yeah, from being a prostitute. So if we're going to talk about tax fraud and this, that, and the other, solicitation and all that, I'm sure that you have quite a interesting explanation for all that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see your W-2.
Oh God.
Or your 1099, should I say?
1099. I'm pretty sure. How do you tax write that? How do you have right on?
It's illegal. It's like what is that? An earned tax credit? We're talking about a guy that's probably on some kind of disability anyway. So,
Oh man. It's good times.
It's escape from Whitfield.
Yeah.
All right, look, we're gonna wrap it up, Josh. I appreciate you, brother.
It's been
about 3 hours here, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never thought I could talk for 3 hours, but I guess.
You know what? Like Joe Rogan says that all of his got to be 3 hours because you spend the first hour kind of bumbling around, filling each other out, and the next two are, it's where the magic happens. And doing radio for 1 and 2 hours a day, it's weird because sometimes those good 1 hour shows are right on the money.
Yeah.
It's like it was just enough, not too much. And then you get those 2 hour shows where the first hour sucked, but the second hour was, man, we need a third hour.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I enjoyed it. It was great.
I enjoyed it, dude, man. You're welcome back anytime. I appreciate you coming in and breaking in the new equipment with me. And I apologize for you having to deal with a crazy guy, in your
no, not at all.
Your but your reviews and stuff.
Don't be sorry. That's a review. I encourage everybody to go check it out.
But you see what I deal with.
Yeah. It's and then that's part of it. I get it.
I mean, you know,
You can't please everybody.
You can't be outspoken and put your opinions out there when they're like mine and not expect something. But what I do, there is a big group of guys that disagree with me that are open for normal conversation.
Yeah, and that's good.
You know,
that's
that respectful back and forth. You know, it's not name calling. It's not calling and complaining to jobs.
Yeah.
And I think we'll hit that one more time before we get out of here.
For old time's sake.
Yeah, just one more for old time's sake. If you haven't heard this is well, what's he on here by today? Summerhill Bankston, aka Tasty. This is a voicemail he left about me at my employer.
I don't see how y'all can have that racist bigot up there, Clay Edwards, working up there. That is not a good look for your company, especially to be a black-owned company to have that white piece of white trailer trash, South Jackson's trash, racist working up there.
Check, check, and check.
That's awesome.
White trash, South Jackson. You got me.
All the boxes.
I think my one of my MySpace names back in the day was Tattooed White Trash for Money. I mean, so it's just, or maybe that was my headline. I was like, come on, man, you're gonna have to do better than that. I mean, I may lose my job tomorrow for this, but I mean, at the end of the day, give me more time to do this. I need a day off.
I do. Yeah, I need a day off.
I need a day off. I mean, this is my day off, and here we're doing a 3-hour conversation, but this is fun.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it.
All right, look, man. In closing, Josh, brother, I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Great time. If y'all need any pet supplies, support local. Go down there to Fondren.
Yeah,
what's the name of the shopping center again?
Name of the shopping center is Fondren Village. I had to think about it for a minute.
Yeah, it's right there next to where
if you see Quiznos,
Mississippi Blood Services and all that used to be at that shopping center in Fondren Public, and Fondren Guitars. Patrick Harkin's doing a great job down there.
But yeah, we deliver. So I actually deliver to Brandon Pearl. I deliver. I do. So we've been doing delivery service for 5 years.
So they just need to call?
Throw that out there. All you got to do is call over the phone. We'll bring it to you that day. We're not doing the 1 hour thing because that's kind of crazy and insurance is expensive.
Well, also, you're not selling a perishable item that needs to be delivered in X amount of time. It's just all, plan accordingly.
And all our customers have been cool with it. It's and we deliver to Madison, Gluckstadt, Reservoir, all over Clinton. So I didn't limit it. That was kind of my approach to the Amazon 5 years ago, and we're still doing it.
Yeah, just plan accordingly and go see my guy. And
if you have any questions, give the store a call. We can help you.
I had a flyer here for you somewhere.
A digital flyer?
Well, stole it off your Facebook.
That's
and
fancy.
Here we go. It's amazing, the technology. There we go. The pet shop. One of the coolest logos I've seen in a while. It's got that old barbershop quartet kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. Like I said, I wanted it old school. It's a classic design. I think if I do a barbershop, it'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Hey, let's read one more comment here. I don't know if he's talking to me or.
You get comments? I haven't seen comments.
It's like, I know you keep, and I just heard it again, but how can you state that and not call you? Oh, he's talking about, what's his name?
Who, me?
No, he's talking about Tasty there. Tasty.
That's the best part. I didn't even recognize his name. I had a friend I was showing. I was like, man, look at this is nuts. Like, look, I sent it to him, and he's like, he goes by Tasty, and I was like, then I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I guess so. I just totally bypassed the Tasty part, and I was going, well, that's good.
He's got about 4 different versions of a name. It's Dupree, Tasty, Keith, Bankston, Summerhill. So some combination of all those, and then it's the same verbatim copy and paste stuff.
I was just I was thrown back, literally. Hey, Tasty, you did a good job, because when I clicked on your profile to see who you were, the crouching tiger position was phenomenal. I was impressed by that.
Yeah.
Really impressed.
Yeah. Man. All right. Look, appreciate you tuning in. Tune into the Clay Edwards Show this week, 7 a.m. every morning on 103.9 WYAB. And we will be back here with another Save Jackson podcast next weekend. We'll see who we can line up in the meantime, and see if Tasty can harass them. And hell, it would almost be a shame if everybody doesn't get initiated into the gang.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
At least you can have fun with it.
Yeah.
It takes the power away.
Yeah.
when you don't let it bother you.
Yeah.
It's like the second it bothers you, it's like, oh, I did something. Like, no, it doesn't bother me. I'm just going to make fun of you about it.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, my man. Appreciate you.
Y'all have a good one.
All right, you
Peace.
too.